Hey everyone, welcome back to another tutorial for our Mercedes AMG 1. We want to work on the Mercedes AMG 1 steering wheel. So we're going to use a blueprint actually. For now we can actually hide these blueprints. We're not going to need those ones. We can actually hide these ones. I have a bunch of different images. Basically search high and low for the best images of the steering wheel and just sort of study the steering wheel to get a proper understanding of like what it is. And I think I'm going to use this as our blueprint. I'm not just going to stop there. There will be multiple tutorials of working on this car, especially the interior, because I really think I want to spend as much time on the interior as possible so I can get it correct. Now onto our steering wheel. So we want to go behind the vehicle and let's add our image. We then want to scale this image down. You can imagine just how small, small that steering wheel is compared to the rest of the vehicle. Let's turn on perspective and let's move the image roughly to where the steering wheel will be. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate because we can always adjust the model after we've, designed the steering wheel. We can always adjust it. And a lot of these things that are basically in our path, in our way, we can basically get rid of those. We just hide them. Oh, I almost forgot. We need screencast keys, don't we? That's better. That is better. I have other images of the steering wheel as well. I took a bunch of screen captures of the actual steering wheel in operation. So we can use these as a guide. Let's use our 3D cursor. Let's enable 3D cursor. So we got our 3D cursor right there, and let's add a circle. We're going to align the circle to view, and we're going to carry the vertices down to around 16. It's still massive. Tab in and scale this circle down. That's somewhat better. Now, because the image, our blueprint is not actually flat, we got to keep in mind that the blueprint is not flat. So we have to keep that in mind. Now, if you're a beginner to, 3D modeling, this might be a little bit difficult. But if you're a little bit used to modeling, cars and stuff like that, then you'll understand that sometimes the blueprint is not flat and you have to use your common sense when designing these things. So imagine if that's the outside and then extrude, scale in. But like I said, there is a groove, so we have to push this back just a little bit. The left-hand side is the rear for me, so that's why I said back, and the front is actually to the right. If that doesn't make sense, we're screwed. And then once again, we're going to extrude, and I believe even this part is actually pushed forward just a little bit, not by a lot. And then it's extruded again, and this part is actually forward. It's actually forward just a little bit. And then let's extrude again and scale this down. And this part is just edged forward just a tiny bit, not much at all, but it's definitely not perfectly flat. And then F to fill face. So that is the start of our steering wheel. If we then add a subdivision, that's what it tends to look like. But before we can do that, let's just use this part and extrude back, well, forwards actually, but it's not by much. It's really a tiny amount. Let's save our progress. You really want to pay attention to the distance right there. We really want to make sure that, we've got this right. You can see that groove right there. It's actually quite prominent. From the side profile, it's actually very, very prominent. It's even more prominent than what we already have. So we're actually going to highlight all of this, and we're going to bring this forward just a little bit because like I said, that part is actually quite prominent. And this area, we're also going to bring that forward a little bit. Kind of like that. Kind of. Yeah, it's kind of like that. So from here, we can add a subdivision. You don't have to, but you can. So we know this part, there is the groove. So let's add a loop cut right there, another loop cut right here. And let's add a loop cut right there and a loop cut down there also. And suddenly it's starting to look a little bit more like the Mercedes does. Okay, everyone, to work on our Mercedes logo, actually, let's duplicate both of these. Let's press P to separate and let's carry these down. I'm going to center this one in particular and I'm going to extrude right there. Going to extrude this one also. Carry this down a bit more. I'm going to level that one on the x-axis, and I'm going to carry this one up a little bit more. I'm going to extrude towards the right, and I'm going to extrude towards the left. With these, a similar thing, going to extrude there, and I'm going to extrude there also. May just want to center these a little bit more. Remember, in our blueprint is not flat, so we got to use our common sense. Let's just carry these down a little bit. Let's extrude this also, and extrude that one as well. Let's extrude a vertex right there, extrude another one right there, and extrude a vertex down. That's pretty good. With those vertices, we're going to fill that. We're going to fill this face. We're going to fill that one, and we're going to fill this area as well, and fill that area also. Don't forget this one needs to be filled too. With everything, we're going to carry it slightly back, and with the center vertex, we're going to poke this one out. And we can add some loop cuts around these ones. This is just helping to make the Mercedes star, which is the starting point for our logo. Then at this point, we can basically add a circle. I don't want a lot of vertices, maybe 16. Align it to view, tab in, scale down. That's pretty good. But you can see it's all the way up here, so we need to bring it closer. It's a bit far away from our logo, so we need to bring it closer. That's better. With both of those, tab in, tab out, Control J to join, and we're going to move this one up slightly. Move this one to the left hand side slightly. Well, actually, it's centered at the moment, so don't want to be moving it around too much. If anything, probably just expand it and carry it down. Expand it a bit more, carry it down. Make sure it's flat on the y-axis. Still needs to be brought out a little bit. You can see this. I'm just watching the distance. I'm just watching the distance of this. Looks like it just needs to be readjusted a small amount. That might work. Let's duplicate this circle. Let's carry it down. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to align these vertices, and I'm going to add some additional vertices. So with these, I can fill that face. I'm going to add some vertices right there as well. And with these, I can fill that face. I can fill this face. I can probably fill that area as well, and fill that area as well. And to be honest, we probably don't need these vertices. Can probably dissolve those and easily fill the other faces. I want you to do the same thing down there and the same thing on this corner. That can be easily done by simply adding new vertices and using these ones for the center. And that way you can fill these faces as well. Same thing there and same thing there. Probably need to separate this somewhat. And let's dissolve that vertice. And we're just going to continue filling these faces. So it's really that simple to make our Mercedes star. Same thing there, fill those faces, fill those faces, fill those faces, and fill those faces too. Fill those and fill those. Once again, I'm going to make sure that this is flattened on the y-axis. All of these are flattened on the y-axis. And at that point, we can then extrude this, not by much, just a small amount. Inside there, we can probably extrude those also. So extrude, and we're extruding forwards. Just like that, you have your Mercedes logo. It may need some adjusting. You can see some of these vertices right here. Let's flip the normals. You can see some of these vertices right here just are not aligned very well, so they need to be adjusted on the y-axis. These need to be adjusted also and carry in. So just like that, just adjust these as well, and adjust these also. And let's shade smooth. So we can then add some additional loops right there to sharpen up our Mercedes badge. But keep in mind, once we do that, these will need to be separated slightly, or else it's going to have that awkward type of look right there, which is what I don't want to have. We can add additional loop cuts, and we can scale this in and reposition it as we choose. Probably need to carry this one down. So with a lot of these, we just need to adjust them, readjust them little by little. In fact, I think with the entire thing right here, we need to readjust small amount, not too much. And we can do that all around all around the logo, all around the star. And let's readjust this one as well. Let's make sure that is straight. And if we find that this part of the logo is too protruded, we can always carry this in like slightly. Not too much, but slightly. And that's it. You do have your Mercedes logo. Let's select everything. Let's carry it up. We can even adjust this a bit more. So you can see some of these areas, they're a little bit, out of place, and they just need some adjusting and separating those vertices, making sure they're not too close together. That solves a lot of issues. So that's our second logo that I've actually created. This is another logo that I created with a bit more time, but very similar geometry style. So if you want, you can copy what I've done right there. If you want a similar look, this takes a bit more time, but they're virtually the same. It's just that one of them takes a lot more time to accomplish. I'm gonna carry this one in, just pressing double G, just sharpen that up a little bit. Honestly, if you ever feel like you need to, like this needs to be a little bit more prominent, then by all means do it. Okay everyone, so where do we start from here? Let's keep it simple, right? We're gonna duplicate a couple of these vertices. We're gonna carry them up. We're gonna flatten them. That's pretty good. I want to center my steering wheel a little bit more. Just center it a little bit more. Obviously, we're not following the blueprint exactly. We're keeping everything flat. That's the most important part. We're keeping it all flat. Let's move it to the right just a little bit. Scale it up a little bit. That's better. As long as it stays flat, that's the key part. At least it's supposed to be flat for now. Now with these vertices, we're going to press P to separate. With these ones right here, we're going to carry those to the left-hand side. And I want to apply a mirror modifier. Let's get ourselves a mirror modifier. Mirror modifier is working, as far as I can tell. It is working. So then we can extrude once again, and we can extrude down, carry this out just a little bit. Then we're going to extrude this way, and extrude again. That's better. Extrude again, and extrude again. We're going to extrude once more, and extrude again, and there we go. We're going to add a vertex right around here. That's better. So it's going to look a little bit something like that. For now, it is pretty much flat. If you're not sure, you can always press SY and 0 to flatten it. So that's a little bit of the outline. We can add vertices right there as well. Keep it looking good. We can add a vertex right there as well. We can move this one up slightly. We can move this one up slightly also. Just going to move this one around. We need loop cuts around these areas also. That's better. We're going to need loop cuts right there as well. You can see it's not going to look good on the right hand side. Just keep that in mind, because the blueprint is not 100% flat, but that's okay. Like I explained to you the logic before, so the key thing is to keep your design flat. You can see on the steering wheel itself, most of the carbon fiber area right there, it's relatively flat with a few grooves. There's a few areas that are not flat. It's not perfectly flat. Like where the buttons are right there, it's a little bit raised naturally. But closer to the circular area, it's a little bit more flat. It's a little bit more natural. And due to that, we're actually going to duplicate this and press P to separate. And we're actually going to use that. Tab in and scale it down a little bit. And we should merge it with this one. Reason why is because when we start to fill these faces, it will look good, it would look organic. But we don't want to get ahead of ourselves too soon. This area, we want to flatten this area on these x-axes and then enable clipping. There we go. And suddenly it's clipped. Let's carry this area down just a little bit. That's good. Like I said, it's not perfectly flat. So this area, we're actually going to bring this back just a little bit, or we can just flatten it just like that. Yeah, that works better. Keep it flat for now until we're ready to add those grooves. Speaking of which, let's duplicate these and let's carry these there, and we'll carry those back just a little bit. Perfect. And we're going to do this. Suddenly that's looking a little bit better. We may need to expand this a small amount. Carry this one down just a little bit. Carry this one this way just a little bit. Same thing with that one. We'll just raise this a little bit. That is pretty damn good. Yeah, something's going on right there where it's not looking too good. Yep, something has happened right there. Just dissolve that vertice. What is going on right there? Yeah, I wonder what's going on right here. It's not gelling well together. I mean, we could just get rid of it, to be honest. We probably just need to add a new circle. Still 16 vertices. Align to view, tab in, scale this down. Scale it down a little bit more. Subdivide by 2. And we're just going to tab in and realign it somewhat. That's better. And then join it once again. You see, once we join it, it creates a problem. I don't know what that's all about, but as soon as we join it, it creates a problem for us. So honestly, I'm just going to leave it for now. I'm just going to hide it around there. I'm not going to worry about it yet. I'm going to carry these vertices down. Yep, just going to hide that for now, because as soon as we merge it, then it just goes out of whack. You know what? Actually, this circle, we can use it for some other stuff. We can duplicate it, and it's perfect to use over here. It's also perfect to use right here. And you know, this one is they're actually buttons, so they stand out. They're not two-dimensional at all. And this one is it's actually scaled forward just a little bit. So I'm just going to move it back just a little bit, not too much at all. And with this one, just extrude it that way. There we go. It's a little bit better. And then we can extrude again and extrude that direction. It's just creating buttons, really. It's just creating buttons at this point. One of these we can duplicate. We can extrude this towards the rear. Fill, extrude back, carry this there, and something like that. We're going to expand it up just a little bit, add a loop right there, and carry this within just a little bit. Actually, this entire side, we just have it like that. That's not bad, is it? That is not bad at all. We might have to scale it up once again. Scale it up a little bit more and scale it up a little bit more. That could work. Shade smooth this area, add a loop right there, add some loops right there. But this is good, you know, like this is actually good. Let's just carry this one forward just a little bit. If anything, we can always, you know, change this later. Scale this one down just a little bit, add a loop right there, probably another loop right there. Don't want to add too many loops, to be honest. And you know, ironically, the same thing we just did with this button, it looks like it's the same button that's inside here. Just different color, but they look identical. Like I said, keep it flat. Don't worry about like the fact that it looks a little bit straight, a little bit strange. Let's carry this one down. It looks a little something like that. Reference back to the real stuff. So that's your RS button. That's your headlights button. I have no idea. That's probably the neutral button. That's the pass button. So DRS buttons. So it's the same thing on the other side, which reminds me, it's the same thing on the other side, just different color for the buttons. So mirror modifier. Now, like I said, it will look a little bit out of place, but that's okay. If anything, it's the steering wheel that needs a little bit of an adjustment towards the left-hand side. We can mirror everything to our steering wheel. So there you go. We can mirror everything to circle 29. No, something's not working. Let's press P to separate. Circle 38. So that should have everything lined up. Yet it still doesn't look 100% accurate. Or perhaps we just need to... That is the one thing. I can obviously see the distance between there, and the distance between there is different. So perhaps we just need to manually adjust that. So highlight both of those, carry it towards the left-hand side just a little bit. That's a little bit better. Even this, mirror that to circle There we go. That's a little better. That's a little bit better. So this is the center of our steering wheel. That's what we're working with. To cut the holes in our steering wheel, some parts of it, we're probably going to have to use the boolean. Just keep that in mind. So you can see just how much it doesn't fully make sense with the blueprint, but it will make sense to us. Honestly, I'm thinking I might borrow these, might carry these up, might separate them for now. This will be like a different part of the steering wheel. Might carry this up, carry this towards the left hand side, carry these ones down, carry these ones down as well. Carry this up. Okay. And this needs to be forward just a little bit. Just a little bit. Due to just how the steering wheel is designed. Have another one up there and adjust the vertices. And this one will just carry this one forward just a little bit. For those circles, oof, I am just as curious as you as to how we're going to do that. But we can start with just adding our faces just to get an idea if this actually even looks reasonable. And fill those faces. So start look a little bit something like that. Honestly, I kind of have to imagine what it would look like from the other side. You know, from the other side, it's kind of the opposite. Duplicate this, carry it this way, duplicate that, carry it that way. So we can basically fill those faces. Same thing right there, and same thing right here. But we're going to carry this one up slightly. Only slightly. It's not supposed to be too much. Because honestly, if it doesn't work, sort of have to rethink the entire thing. Fill these areas and fill those areas also. So start looking a little like that. Honestly, it's not looking bad. It's not looking bad at all. Yeah. Adjust this side also. Carry this side towards the left-hand side. Same thing right there. Carry this there. Okay. Adjust this one as well. That's it. And as for this area, like I said, I have no idea how we're going to do that just yet. Don't know if we're going to use Boolean. I don't really know. Perfectly honest, probably trying to avoid using Boolean. But this is a good start. This is an excellent start. It might look simple for now, but it's only going to improve from here on out. We're going to separate this part for now. And we're going to carry this back because, like I said, it is a little bit like, it's not completely flat with everything else. Some parts of the wheel is slightly flat, but some parts is really not. Even at the bar, even at the light bar at the top, it's a little bit back. Like it's not even level. This side, we're going to carry this back also. We're going to carry that one forwards just a little bit. Yeah, that's definitely looking a lot better. At this stage, it's all about just getting the simple designs out the way before we get to any complex design. And that's why this process is so damn important. We could even extrude this area, fill that area, and probably carry this one down, extrude once again, carry this one up slightly, could fill that area as well, and we could also fill this area. So it starts looking a little something like that. Honestly, we might have to adjust this as well. There we go. Let's shade smooth that area. You know what we could do? Just an idea. We could add a circle and let's align to view. And this circle really don't want a lot of vertices at all. I'd say around, in terms of vertices, probably around 4. Because once we subdivide, that's what we get. So let's scale this down, scale this down, scale it down. There we go. Like once we subdivide, so that's an option. We need to scale this down because we want some distance in between. Unless we scale up like that, unless we change the number, and we could mirror this. Once again, mirror to the steering wheel because that's our point of reference for everything. We might have to do that as well. There we go. That's looking a little bit better. I wonder if we can rotate these, rotate them to lay them flat like that. So 45 degrees rotate on the y-axis. Okay, but now I'm just curious if our count is worth realigning, just realigning the counts. So it's 6 on either side. So we can delete that. If we're happy with this alignment, let's carry this one to the right hand side, small amount. Adjust this to the left hand side. And then add our mirror modifier again. So if I'm getting anything right, this is just incorrect. But why is that? Okay, here's what we'll do. Now that we've got them separated, and apply the mirror modifier. Good. And then we can align them roughly, give or take. Probably need to scale them down. Again, this doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be perfect on the left-hand side. And let's carry this one forwards, right where it needs to be, which is around, it's around there. Eventually, we're going to have to rotate this on the x-axis. There's something about it that's just not perfectly set. Honestly, I feel like deleting that again and trying. That's a little bit better. So it doesn't make sense on the right-hand side, but we just have to remember it's not really supposed to make perfect sense on the right-hand side. It's supposed to make sense on the left-hand side, but on the right-hand side, it doesn't really have to. All we got to make sure is that these are a correct distance away from each other. So that's about right. And save your file. That's what we've got done for today. Hope you're enjoying the tutorial so far. Subscribe to see more, and I will see you in our next video as we continue. Well, this will probably be part of just a huge video, so there's no point in saying that. But yeah, this is looking good so far. You know something, we're going to lower the opacity on this steering wheel just a little bit, because I'd like to get these outlines correct, such as this one. Let's get that one correct, and let's continue to model the device. Like I said, things won't line up perfectly on the right hand side, but as long as you got it lined up perfectly on the left hand side, that's what counts. I mean, neither dimension is correct because of the blueprint, but we just got to use our common sense while doing all of this. That is the key part. We're going to duplicate this vertice, and we're going to extrude upwards. Select both P to separate, and we're going to extrude this one down also. So it's definitely taking effect on the other side as well, and that's what's so important. These ones, we're going to carry them out just a little bit more. Excellent. We're going to extrude upwards as well. This is good. Probably got to carry these ones up as well. That's good. So you can see it just doesn't make sense on the other side. That's okay for now. I won't make a big deal of it right now. Just take a look at it from this perspective. You can see much of the steering wheel is very flat at the moment. That's also okay. It's not naturally flat, so once we get to modeling the full thing, we got to keep in mind that, yeah, it's not actually flat. We're going to duplicate this side, carry it here, carry this down, extrude this way, extrude to the right hand side. I just noticed screencast keys is not turned on. As you will probably suspect, I'm not modeling all of this all at once. This is being done in separate parts. You can see like there's a lot of groove. There's a lot of groove going on in the design. Like this part is raised. That's very much raised. But as you get down into the grips, remember this is a steering wheel. It's got to be able to fit your hands, the palm of your hands in a comfortable way. So some parts are raised and some parts are just not raised, and we got to keep that in mind. And it's simple things like this that may seem simple at first, but you know, the more you design, the more you realize actually this is not so simple. And that is okay. That is all part of the process. We're going to fill those vertices as well. Good. As for these ones, we're going to duplicate this, P to separate, and we're going to Control J to merge those. We're going to fill this area. Might actually want 2 vertices right there. Yeah, might just keep it like that for now. As for this one, we'll carry this one out. So even this is not, it's not perfect just the way it is, you know. It's supposed to have a little bit more personality, I guess you can say. Let's merge these 2 as well. Add another vertex right there. That's good. Actually, you know what? With these ones, we might actually just carry them closer together once again. Let's hide that for a moment. So this is what our steering wheel is starting to look like. And just like this right here, we're going to design the rest of it to look a little bit like that. So it's not 2D, you know, it's a real thing. Let's add some vertices around here. That's another thing as well. See this part, got to get this area correct. So we've got to turn down the vertex, turn down the opacity a little bit. Let's see if we can get this right. I'm not too worried about the counts just yet, if I'm being completely honest. Let's carry this behind the steering wheel. Let's reorganize that just a little bit more. So eventually we're going to like connect these. I'm less worried about the numbers because we can always adjust that a little bit later as well. These finer details like the buttons right there, yeah, we got to keep that in mind as well. That, and we might actually want to duplicate this, you know. Yeah, let's duplicate that. So one of these, we're going to press Control J and merge. See, the other one is still there. We're going to use that later. But what's really nice is that we can essentially start merging these if we wanted to. Can even carry this one there and merge those as well. As we're doing this, I'm going to save file and increment. Make sure we don't lose our document. Let's adjust this a little bit and let's fill that face as well. How about this vertice? Oh yes, I remember this side is a little bit raised. Like this area, it is a little bit raised, so it's not completely flat like say this area. This area is a little bit more flat, but this area is a little bit raised. Just how the buttons are placed. Keeping that in mind, we can actually carry this forward. So it's not flat, it's not too far out either. And just little by little, we get our steering wheel design. So as for this area, let's continue to fill those areas. Let's adjust this area as well. Fill those faces, fill those faces. Excellent. We need a vertex right there, naturally. Let's add a vertex right there. Fill those faces as well. Try to keep it a little bit organized, a little bit neat. You can see it is pushed forward just a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit. If we decide that it's too far forward, we can always change that later. We're gonna extrude a vertex right there. Add a vertex right there. Fill this area. Extrude once again. Extrude once again. Fill those faces. Fill these faces as well. We're gonna extrude this area and extrude that area as well. I wonder if this should just be one face or if we should add a loop right there. Don't have to yet. That's the key thing. We don't have to yet. But some of these do need to be readjusted. Just carry these vertices forward so they're still behind the steering wheel somewhat. So you can see that there's a natural curvature, there's a natural raise in the plane, but it's not risen too much. It's not risen too much, is it? That's good. And that's all I'm doing. I'm just using like simple stuff to get this done. Keep it simple. I'd always say keep it simple as much as you can. Don't overcomplicate it. That's often just overrated, and it's often unnecessary as well. You know, keep it simple. I'm gonna add another vertex right there. That's better. That is better. We might even adjust this a little bit more. Might fill that area, and we'll continue filling these areas. Okay. And as for this one, well, actually what we can do is just extrude a loop right there and fill that area. So some places that looks a little bit more flat on our steering wheel, like a lot of these areas actually look a bit more flat. So I think it is raised, but it's probably raised a little bit too much. So what we can do is just carry this back just a little bit. Like one being raised is not a bad thing, but a little bit too much, that could be a problem. We'll probably just straighten this and then carry it behind the steering wheel just a little bit, at least for now. And you see, just naturally doing all of this, we've already just created that area that we were looking for already. Let's carry this up a little bit more. We'll probably just relax this. We'll probably just relax this line, keep everything looking good. Although that didn't look so good. Yeah, that's a key thing. It needs to look good. Probably add a vertex here right there, loop cut I should say. That's looking a little bit better. A lot more organized as well. Let's carry this one down. Probably carry these ones up just a little bit. I wonder if we started doing that, how that would look. Doesn't look too bad actually. We don't have to do that yet, but we could. We could if we wanted to. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Just for now, just to add that personality that we're looking for. So with these as well, we can extrude in that direction as well. Like if we got that going, how does that look? And if we added a line right there, how would that look? Doesn't look too bad actually. We determine how sharp we want this to be as well. Interesting. Very interesting. So just to like test our theory and see how that looks. Still looks a little bit flat, the overall steering wheel. And we know we have to do something about that fairly soon as well. Like these vertices right there should not be that far back. Can you see that? Should be a little bit more forward. Probably these ones as well. So just a few areas like that, that probably need a bit of patience, a bit of work. Yeah. But so far so good. I can't complain about this too much if I'm being honest. How about this line right there? Let's just carry that vertex towards the back a little bit. This entire area, isn't that curvature supposed to be a bit more seamless? Yeah, like it is supposed to be a little bit seamless. Yeah, so it's like one of these are just unnecessary. Now you can see that looks a little bit more, that looks excellent. And as for this right here, this will be our buttons. That will be our buttons. And just like this simple strategy will get the job done, honestly. You know what? I can't stand this, just how it looks right there. So we're just going to add another circle right there. That was driving me insane for a while. That's better. And that's what our steering wheel is looking like. In comparison with our vehicle as well, the steering wheel isn't actually that low. It's probably a little bit further back and it's probably a little bit raised like that. It's probably a little bit raised like that if I'm being completely honest. Maybe not as high, but just being honest, but we don't have to move it yet. You can always do that at a different time, but I just wanted to make that point clear. Especially if anyone has noticed that and they're like, yeah, we've gotten some things wrong. No, we haven't gotten it wrong. It's just that we focus on what's more important in that median time. Now we're going to continue with our handle. Let's duplicate those vertices and let's save in increments. Now this is where using the shadow of the steering wheel might help. You see those places with darker shadows, they're typically where the wheel starts to go indent. Simply meaning that those places are the groove. They're further indented in. While the lighter patches, the steering wheel is actually further out, it's further raised. So the sooner we start working on that little theory, the sooner we can start merging these. And I'm going to follow that, using that logic, using that principle. Add a loop right there as well. Fill these. Is that the places with the darker patches, that's where the vertices are lowered. Seriously, that's where the vertices are lowered. Actually, we might not fill that area yet. We might not fill that area yet because we don't want to do it too soon, because we want to have a proper idea of the steering wheel, the places that are supposed to be raised and the places that are supposed to be lowered. So what we'll continue to do is continue to add some additional vertices. Now you can see right there that place is lowered. That's where your left thumb would fit perfectly in there, and it'll control all of those buttons that you see right there. Your left thumb can also fit up there as well. So multiple places to rest your fingers, essentially. Yeah. I wonder how we're going to create the flappy gear pedals, because the gear change, the switches are actually behind the steering wheel. So that's also a question on how we're going to create those. There you go. They're right there. They're right there. But we don't have to worry about that too much right now. I'm a little bit concerned. What is this? You see those wires that come out through the steering wheel? What is that part? It's probably the buttons, but it's so exposed at the back. Honestly, this steering wheel has a very interesting appeal. It looks like it was created by someone in a garage, but also someone who had the financing of Tony Stark. You know, like you can clearly see like it's a world's, it's first world kind of manufacturing. But at the same time, it's like I could DIY create this. It's crazy. And that's what I mean. Left thumb fits right there, can also fit right there. So the groove is lowered in the darker patches. Lighter patches, lighter gray areas, it's raised. And we don't have to make it exactly how it is. That's a nice part as well. We also got to keep in mind that at the rear, it's got to have places, grooves for your thumbs. So we want to keep that in mind as well. I have no idea how that looks. Perhaps we need some more images to give us an idea, but even that is rather simple, but we want to keep the grooves in mind because that's an appeal of a steering wheel like this. A steering wheel that theoretically you'll be holding for hours. So naturally it needs to have some level of comfort. Now you see down here, this will be a little bit more flat while it continues to raise. Down there is a little bit more flat. So even vertices like that, you can carry them down a little bit closer. It's just simple little things like that, that's going to make a huge difference when designing, just keeping those things in mind. We can probably turn this down once again. So places like this is it's quite high up, while places like that is quite low down. So if I were to duplicate this and I were to expand it, just scale it up, it needs to be somewhere in the middle, like there, like kind of. And then we can carry this up, probably carry these up as well, probably add another vertex right there, just like this, just like that. And places like this, okay, that's a good point. Duplicate this as well, because that area also needs to be raised a little bit. But then places like this are like further in, and places like that are like slightly further out. So even this is further in, honestly, kind of like that. And it's a similar thing right there. Can probably use this to follow this around, something like that. And once again, it's closer to that part of the steering wheel. Depending on how good you need this to look, it's going to take you some time, but it's also really important that it looks good, So it's important that you do take your time to get this part right. It doesn't need to be rushed at all. You can even see like right there, if we were to extrude a vertex like there, like this one is closer down like that. So we'll probably add a loop cut right there. Yeah, it's just little details like this, If we add a loop right there, add one right there, and once again, carry this further down. And this one, carry it down a little bit also. This one, carry this down a little bit also. Some things like that, Add a loop cut right there, add a loop cut right there. Because all of this, that part is further down. All of this will make sense. Like we can start merging some of these areas because they're already close on level. I had no intention for it to really go this way, but it sort of just develops, like it's just a natural thing. It's just like it's the ideas. The ideas just they just come. The ideas just come, Just separate this a little bit. Probably add a vertex right there as well. All right, these areas they need to be further down as well, like that. And carry this area down. Similar thing with that area. And even on the outside right there, we might need to have another line. I got to do this manually. Got to select these manually and duplicate this and have another line around these areas, and then carry this forward just a little bit, scale it up a little bit more. Yeah, and probably extrude another vertex right there and carry these towards the left hand side, something like that. So you can see now they're all on different levels, and merge those. So these ones will naturally just be a little bit closer. And how interesting that even that it has to be folded, It has to be folded kind of like that. So we're going to bring this forward a little bit more, which on the steering wheel is actually the back, but yeah, you get my point. So a little bit like that, the design continues to take place. Carry this one within like that. Carry this one within like this. Carry this one there. good. And same thing right there. Just like that. Merge these as well. Probably add another loop right there. There is no telling just how much vertices we need in these areas. So a lot of this is just us using our common sense. And not just common sense, but it's like, just a lot of guesswork as well. A whole lot of guesswork as well. Because you can see I'm keeping that in mind. Like this set of vertices right there, keeping this in mind. We might have too many vertices somewhere around here. So we might have to, might have to just readjust this a little. And it might look like it's unnecessary to have so many right there, but it might make sense later. Well, actually, not might, but it will make sense later. And maybe I do have too much going on right there, but right now I think it's necessary. I'm gonna fill these areas. Right now I do think it's necessary because once we start filling the faces, it's gonna start making sense. Probably add vertices right there as well. You can see there's a lot of vertices around this area. Might have to readjust this one a little bit. May have to readjust quite a few of them and add a few more loops. Merge this one to the first, but to the last. That's better. Same thing there. Merge that one to the last. Merge this one to the last as well. I'm just curious if we have too many vertices around these areas. We might. We might have too many vertices. Yeah, it's possible. We might have too many vertices, but it's the detail. What we could do is save in another increments before we start filling any of these areas, add in more loops as well. We could start filling if we wanted to. We could add another vertex right there. I'm going to start filling this area because once we start this, it's going to start making a lot more sense what we've been doing. And then we can always adjust as well. All right, like we need a vertex right there. And whilst we work slowly doing this, if it's not making sense, we can slowly adjust. Let's add another vertex right there. Another one right there. Another one right there. And there we go. This area can readjust it a little bit. And this area can fill that area. Can fill this area as well and continue filling it. And this way it feels simple. It feels natural. This way it actually doesn't feel that difficult at all. We may carry these ones out just a bit more. There's little things like that, just little details like that, starting to notice that these ones can probably carry them out a little bit more because it look better, feel natural, just some simple stuff like that. I wonder about this area, however. I wonder how that would work. Let's add some loops right there. I wonder. I don't exactly like this area. Not at all. Because, yeah, you can see like that can dissolve this edge right here. Perhaps delete that edge. Ah, I see. These weren't merged. There we go. But even this doesn't feel entirely correct. Feels a little bit incorrect, actually. But something like that, that's a bit more simplistic to fix. Like if we continue to have issues with that, that can be fixed. Let's fill these areas. Let's fill these areas as well. Like I wonder if I've gotten that right, but it just looks a little bit off. That's what I wonder. Like even these ones should be a little bit closer like that. Perhaps we need to dissolve that area. Perhaps. And don't forget now, this is not completed because within there are stitches. But what we are doing is getting the simple stuff out the way. Well, actually, I shouldn't use that word. I shouldn't say simple because it's perhaps not simple for everyone. I mean, even for myself, having my issues with it as well. Just some things that I'm like, have I gotten this part right? You see this area right here? We might have to merge this, or we can just do that. That's also an option. But again, trying to avoid having too many vertices. So we could get rid of that one if we wanted to. Almost like a straight up replacement. Just wondering if this works. This is another question as well. This area quickly becomes overcomplicated. We don't want to be adding too many vertices, especially in this area, because once we add too many vertices, then it becomes just unnecessary and just unnecessarily complicated, to be honest. Let's add a loop right there. Let's merge those. Well, I should say, let's add a vertex right there. Let's merge those. Ha, this area, fill those area. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's join these. Let's carry this around. There we go. Okay, how interesting. Let's fill that area. Let's fill this area as well. Fill that area. So how are we looking? Gotta be honest, it's looking better than I thought it would. And I believe that's the exact type of reaction we wanted. Like, we knew it wouldn't look perfect, but we wanted it to essentially look better than we could ever imagine. It's not perfect, but we got those grooves. We got the grooves we were talking about, and those are essential. There we go. Simple like that. So initially we thought we might have too many, loops, but I don't know. It's not looking too bad yet, but maybe the issue will start now as we say that. So we'll see. We just fill these remainder faces. This is one of the more simpler ways to model these things. If you have the blueprint, it makes it really easy to follow. It's let's adjust this vertex and let's add another loop right there. Well, just another vertex. There we go. So now this becomes another thing, we can see this area right here. It's a little bit too flat, so got to manually adjust a lot of these vertices. And this is also just a fill-in, just like just a fill-in that I get. Like this area should be a little bit more adjusted. Like some of these areas should feel a little bit more flat. Like before it starts getting into the groove, some of this area needs to feel a little bit more flat. Like these areas right here needs to feel a little bit more flat, kind of like that, but not too literal. So just carry them out. That's better. That's a lot better. Yep, that's a lot better right there. So it's still got that edge, but just not too literal, And that's just based on what it looks like for me. I'm just like thinking to myself just how it looks, how I want it to feel. Now we can see we might, yeah, if we have too many vertices, we can always get rid of those loops if we have too many loops, If it doesn't serve a purpose. This one does serve a purpose. If you look right there, I'm just imagining, like it probably does serve a purpose. While this area, that works. I can get rid of that without it causing too much problem. There we go. How is that looking? I gotta be honest, that actually looks a lot better than I thought it would. Seriously, that's actually looking good. I mean, it's not finished yet, it's not near finished yet, but it's actually looking better than I thought it would. Because I was actually worried at first that, this is not going to look too well. I'm just giving this a try, but it turns out it does look pretty good. Something I'm wondering is this area around the steering wheel. Like imagine if we can add a loop, but it goes around that area rather than going through. Just wondering. Just wondering. As for this area, I don't know. I want to bring that up a little bit more. Probably a little bit more. Almost like it's on the same level to this. And that's not essential because I'm sort of like going against the grain. That's not exactly how it is in the image, but you can see right there. Yeah, it's not exactly how it is in the image, but what we could do then is do this. So it's still there, and let's straighten this out on the x-axis. I wonder if we need to straighten a bunch of these out on the x-axis. I don't know. Don't have to. This is one of those areas that we don't have to do anything, but I'm just curious if it would actually work, if it would actually look better, look more organized. I mean, in a way it does look more organized. I've got to be honest, rather than it just looking a little bit random and out of place. Some of these areas, some of these vertices, we're gonna adjust those as well. Yep, we're gonna adjust these areas as well. Even this area right there, gonna adjust these areas as well. I'm mostly focused on the blueprint on the left-hand side of our design. As for this area, no idea how that's going to turn out. Seriously, like we got some additional work to do on that area. But to be honest, got no clue how that's going to impact our design. Even that area right there, got no idea how that's going to impact our design. But even that solution right there is actually not too bad. You've gone from being a little bit worried to being like, actually that's not too bad. How about this area? Yeah, just straighten that one up. This is another thing, you know, like you got to remember, this will not be perfect unless you have the time to spend hours on this. So you got to decide what level of realism do you want to go for, because that's going to matter. Let's carry that one in just a little bit. It just feels like it just needs to be carried in just a little bit. Maybe not too much. Even this area, just carry this area out just a little bit, because this is just the front of the design. Then we got to think about the sides of the handle, which will be a little bit easier. Then we got to think about the rear of the handle, not the entire steering wheel, but yeah, we do have to think about the entire steering wheel. But I think you get my point. Something that we don't have to worry too much about just yet. Let's just adjust this a little bit. We'll adjust this as well. Probably adjust that as well. Honestly, this area, yeah, we'll adjust this as well. And I wonder if we should just add a vertex here right there. I don't want to be adding too many vertices. That's the thing, you know. Don't want to be adding too many vertices. So something more like that, where the vertices are in places where they're necessary, but they're also not too unnecessary. How's that look? A little bit better. So as we continue, you know, we'll get into more details on this. But right now I just wanna finish up on these like finer details right here. Any areas that we can improve these small details, it's worth it. It's probably absolutely worth it. How about that area? Yeah, we could bring this out, you know, those stitchings. Again, I don't even know about the stitching. I wonder if we're going to do this in this episode or we might just do that in another episode. That's up for debate as well. Like I might do an entire tutorial on the stitching, like how to add stitches, you know, of onto objects. This area, I think we need to raise this just a little bit, not too much, just gradually. You can see even this area, not too much at all, you know, just a little bit. Let's raise that a little bit. This area, let's raise that a little bit. It's barely. There we go. This one will just carry this one around. So it's just like that, you know, just little by little. You keep working at it until you get the results you're looking for. Just like that, you know, little by little, just keep working at it. And we will get those results that we're looking for. Before you know it, we'll be completed with this. You know, we're almost finished on the front, and then we got to think about the rear. The finer details like these buttons, that's going to be interesting. That might be a little bit challenging. Also, we got different sort of buttons on this side. So there's some thought. There's some thought that needs to go into it. Also, this area, you know, don't forget this area that we gotta somehow find a solution to connect these without it going absolutely wrong. Honestly, we could try that right now. Seriously, we could try that right now. We could add a loop right there. And as for this one, carry this one up right there. We could fill that area. Well, first we've got to merge these. So before we even do that, save in increments. Because if this doesn't work out, then we need to come back to it. Hold on a minute. This one has still got the mirror modifier, I'm guessing. Yep, we need to apply mirror modifier. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Honestly, why is it doing that? So apply mirror modifier, and then what? Suddenly, just a little bit of an adjustment right there. Okay, that works. That works. So yeah, just before we go ahead with that, honestly, save in increments again. I really don't want to lose this important part of the work. We don't really need the blueprint as much for this part. let's carry these ones up. And honestly, we're gonna fill that area. Let's fill that area as well. As for this one, let's press double G to adjust that a little bit. Let's carry this one out. Let's carry it out again. So then we can fill this area. We can fill that area as well. Okay. We can probably fill this area. My goodness, it's already started. The madness has already started. It's not working. But not to fear. We don't give up that easily. If I'm being completely honest, we're just gonna start adding some loop cuts. Now this is something I'm trying. I'm trying this. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, then we're in problem. Interesting. Interesting how we're gonna figure that one out. I have no idea, but we'll see. Because this is also mirrored. So we probably don't even need these. That's hilarious, isn't it? Anyway, let's try to fill that area. Okay, interesting, interesting. It's not off to a bad start. We can say that for sure. Okay, that's actually not looking too bad. It's kind of crazy, but how strange. That's actually not looking too bad. I thought this was going to go horrible. So I'm just curious. If we got rid of those, well, I don't think we have a choice. But if we got rid of those, how does it look? Hold on. Let's just hide it for a moment because it's gonna drive me crazy if I don't do that. Let's just continue to work on this area. You see those finer, imperfections? We can always work on that a little bit later. Yeah, we can always work on that a little bit later, like those tiny little imperfections. I gotta say, this is quite ambitious, especially this part. It's such a fine detail, but I really didn't think this was going to work. Before we get our hopes up, though, let's just complete it. Let's just at least check if it does work at all. And then if we've determined that it works, even a little bit, that's going to be worth it. Let's extrude these. Let's fill that area. Hold on a minute. What is that? What is that? Interesting. So what these two are supposed to be, hold on, extrude. So what these two are supposed to be join, dissolve edge or delete edge and fill. Oh yes, and finally, moment of truth. Does it work? It does work. Almost. I think I know what the problem is. Just this area. I think this area just needs a little bit of help. A little bit of convincing. So, hold on. I see. Let's delete those. And let's extrude. Hold on. Why is this area already, something's going on there. And I have no idea what's going on, but something is going on there. Honestly, what's going on here? Do we need to merge vertices? Is that it? I think that did fix something. Yeah, that definitely fixed something. And then, but you see, there's still a little problem. Right, there's still something not entirely correct. And it looks like it might be around this area. I see. It's not closed out, I think. You see that right there? Like, it's not closed out. Okay, that's a lot better. But once we get this too close together, I see. Oh my goodness, that's such a weird issue to come across. But I'm glad we came across this because now it's good. Definitely not perfect. It needs some work. There's no doubt about that. But this ended up looking so much better than I thought it would. Needs a bit of adjusting. Like you can see, like right there, these are just out of position almost completely. Like as for this entire thing right there, like this should really just be flat like that. Same thing with this side. Almost like just straightening these out. Just straightening these out. Not even joking, just straighten these out. On the x-axis, of course. Yeah. But this way it would look a lot more organized, a lot more straightforward, a lot more simplistic. Some of these need to be carried in. Yeah, some of these I don't like the way they're protruding. Definitely don't like the way they're protruding, you know. So some of those right there. That's another thing. Could we just like flatten this area out on the y-axis? Kind of like that. But if we do that, then we got to rotate a little bit on the x-axis. Well, we don't have to, but probably should. Like it's straight, but why is it not straight? Very interesting. It is straight, some areas, but then there are other areas that are not straight. And I wonder if it's because this line right there is not straight. Now it is. And this line straighten out as well. Now there's probably a good reason. It's probably because like these need to be closer in like that, but we can always readjust those after. We messed something up. We messed something up. Yep, we messed something up. So before we started to even adjust those, that's probably when it got messed up. If we try again, it'll mess it up. So maybe we just do it with those ones. Nope, the moment we do it with these ones, we'll mess everything up. So we'll just do it manually. Yep, we'll just do it manually. To be honest, it's already on par. It's already on par. It's just that these ones need to be. That is so weird. It's like right there. It's like that little area is just a little bit untouchable. Anyway, that's all right. We'll redo this. Just flatten that area out. Redo this and flatten that area out. You know, as this problem still persists, it has, hasn't it? Look at that. This problem still persists. Gotta turn off clipping. Carry that one out again. Get that clipping back on. That problem still persists. It persists there as well. How brilliant. Carry this one out as well. Anything you mess around with in that area, expect it to go ballistically wrong. But this is great. We actually got something done that we weren't entirely certain of. We were a little bit... I was definitely in doubts at times because I've never really tried this before, and it actually turns out so. This is actually a win. That face is actually quite flat. So there's definitely some more work to be done on it, like this right here where the light bar is. That's actually relatively flat. Like this face is relatively flat. That's interesting right there. We're gonna adjust this a little bit. Ah, I see what happened there. It's just this line right here needs to be adjusted on the x-axis just a little bit, and that'll do. But yeah, this face, it's relatively flat, and it only takes a few loop cuts, and we could probably have something relatively similar, but we're gonna undo that for now because in order to get that right, that may take some time. But for now, we're gonna leave it right there. Good job, by the way. If you've come this far, really, really good job to you. Honestly, that's impressive what we've been able to do so far. So thank you for sticking with us. This is going to be an entire video, but it's been long so far. It's felt long, but the amount of work hasn't actually seemed like it should have taken this long. But because we want to get this right, I'd rather do it properly and correctly. And it's looking good so far. Okay, see you in the next portion of this video. Thank you for watching. I've continued to do some research on the steering wheel design, and we just want to continue with that, you know. I've also gathered a lot more reference images of the steering wheel. Like all steering wheel, it rotates. So these parts that are separate, we want to start thinking about that around now. It's a little bit circular. You know, it's majorly circular, but it's not a perfect circle. That's something to keep in mind. Because you can see further down, there's a bit of a hump. There's a bit of a hump further down. You can see it right here, just underneath the steering wheel. So it is circular, but it's not perfectly circular. So we're going to go ahead and add a circle. Let's align it to view, and let's change vertices to 16. Let's tab in and let's scale this down. So now this will actually help us, you know, in terms of how it actually is. So you can see it's slightly hidden behind the steering wheel itself. It's slightly hidden, like from the front perspective, you can't really see it. You might be able to see that little hump right there, but even from that perspective, you can't really see it. The reason why this is important is because we need to know the correct size. Like, it needs to be somewhere around there. Something says it's rather similar to this. It might not be exactly the same, but it's rather similar. We're going to carry this forward. We're going to hide this for a moment. We're going to hide most of this. You can see right there, compared to the actual steering wheel, it's actually, that circular part is actually quite smaller. Realistically speaking, I would say it's just a little bit bigger than this. So I'd say what we have there is actually quite accurate. Now, in terms of distance, I have no idea yet. But this is why I wanted to get this part started. Let's duplicate it and P to separate. Why? Because it rotates and it's on two different mechanisms. This part is still, this part rotates. We're going to draw that one a little bit closer together, and then we're going to extrude again, and then we're going to duplicate this again, carry this one forward once again, and P to separate. It's a little bit like that, because you got the steering wheel, you got the mechanism in between, and then you got this part right here, and that's this area. If we were to extrude this area, it would look a little something like this. It would probably look a little bit like that. If we were to give it just a quick idea of what that could look like. As for this part, it's probably extruded once there, scale up a little bit, extruded once again, and scaled up quite a lot. And then carry that one there. It's probably something like that. What's crazy though, it's only done half of that. I'm not entirely sure why. Well, it's only because we selected half. Okay, let's try it again. Something like this. Let's carry this part forwards, carry this part back just a little bit. Something like that. But these areas, I think these areas are probably a little bit lowered like that. So it's probably sort of looks like just one entire thing. I think it's this area right there. It's a little bit more straightforward. It's not that exact. And as for this area, I'm gonna add a loop right there, and we're going to scale it up. But we're going to scale it up on active element. There we go. Probably scale it a little bit more. Ideally, I want this area to be relatively flat. So this is just a rough idea of what we got going on. We're not even entirely sure if we're going to keep this. We might redesign these areas, because once we start subdividing, shade smooth, it may look a little bit different. It actually looks good. It actually looks okay. I won't lie. It actually looks okay. We can even fill these faces just to test our theory. Insert once, insert again. Same thing with there, fill, insert once, insert again. And we can actually add a full loop right there. Add a loop right there and a loop right there. Similar thing right there, we can fill that area, scale in once again, and add another loop right there. Same thing on this side. Just rinse and repeat, pretty much. Let's see how that looks with our matte cap. Doesn't look bad. It also doesn't look perfect, so we know we got some work to do. Let's just carry this one back just a little bit. We don't want them to be too close, but we also don't want them to be too far away. A little something like that. A little something like that. We can always adjust it later if we decide, you know what, this is not working, it may need some additional work. We can always just readjust it later. It's actually crazy. Like a year ago, I could not imagine my car designing skills would be this advanced. But this is advanced car design. As for this area, we're going to start duplicating this. So duplicate it, carry it forwards a little bit like that. Probably carry it back a little bit more. Duplicate it again and carry this one back. That area is actually quite wide. After looking at a lot of different images, I noticed that this part of the steering wheel, the handle essentially, it's actually really, really wide on the corners. So we're going to keep that in mind as we design our vehicle. You know how it is, man. You can see right there, you can see how wide it is on the corner. It is rather wide. Now the amazing thing is that what we've already designed is a perfect blueprint for continuing our design process. Seriously, it's a perfect blueprint for continuing our design and process. All we have to do now, things like this, we can literally just scale it down a little bit. Probably scale it on active element. So scale it that way, but I will only scale it on the x-axis. So it's still wide, but it's starting to scale inwards. Probably carry this back just a little bit more, not too much at all. And with this one, obviously it's behind the handle, so we know with this side, we're going to duplicate again. We are going to scale this down, and let's scale it on active element as well. So we're going to scale it on the x-axis once again, and we're going to carry it towards the rear just a little bit more. All of this may take some time to get right. Such as these areas, we can actually duplicate this. We can actually duplicate this and carry it forward. So this will connect with the rear as well. And while this might look absolutely insane, I wonder if this is necessary. This one right here, or perhaps it just needs to be a lot closer. Perhaps that's it. And obviously these areas need to be closer. This is what I spoke about before, that these areas are actually fundamentally, they're closer to the steering wheel. These are the smaller areas, you know, it just follows the smoothness of the palm, and this is how you naturally get these sort of curvatures. I wonder if we need to expand it on the z-axis, perhaps a little bit, not too much at all. We're going to carry this down. We're going to carry this in as well. If you can get this part right, basically the wireframes area, then everything else really gels together rather easy. If we can get this part right. And this is where images of the steering wheel really comes in handy, because you really have to study the steering wheel if you want to get these areas right. Like, a lot of these areas are actually a little bit more in line. How about these areas? A little bit more in line in my opinion, but because we got so much more work to do on that area, we're gonna be careful with how we continue with the design. So inside there, that's where our stitching is. So we'll even, you know, duplicate this once again, because that's where our stitching is, and we're going to scale this down, but scale it on the x-axis, carry it towards the right hand side a little bit, not too close. So all of this is basically just following each other like a jigsaw puzzle. And let's save our work once again. Let's set the normals on this area. I had a feeling the color in the matte cap just looked a little bit off with that area. Now it looks a lot better once we set those normals. Ah, I see. Normals need to be set here as well. That's interesting, isn't it? How interesting. That we've been working on that for so long, and we didn't notice that the normals, they weren't correct. Does it look much difference? It doesn't look that much difference, but I guarantee you something is different. And I thought I already set my normals for this area, honestly. I wonder what happened there. So if we're looking at the stern wheel like that, it should look a little something like this, but this area needs to be smaller. Right? Not too small, but it is smaller. And as for all of these, we're going to bring this down, but viewing it from the front perspective, just carry it down just a little bit. And honestly, for this area as well, probably need to scale this down as well. We'll scale that down a little bit. Honestly, we'll keep it like that for now. We're going to dissolve this area. As for these areas, I really do believe this needs to be smaller now. Just looking at it all once again, and this is what I meant, you know, you're always going to be making some adjustments, and that's okay. Hold on. I do believe that was unnecessary, because this area, or perhaps just delete that. This area should be wider out. Kind of like that. This area is a little bit more scale. We'll put a vertex right there, which makes me think that these areas are the ones that need to be a little bit smaller as well. And if anything happens later, we can always adjust this part. We can always make it a little bit smaller, not too small, of course, but we can always adjust that area later if we wanted to. But we just want to make sure that essentially the stern wheel, the rear of the stern wheel, because this will rotate with the stern wheel. This is all part of the stern wheel. It will rotate together. Will actually rotate together. Like all of this area, it will actually rotate together. Not like that, but you get my point. You get my point. It will rotate together. And these vertices will join up with the rest of the model. Now that's where things might get a little bit tricky. So what do you say we start filling some of these areas? We'll start filling some of these areas. And because they're essentially duplicated, of each other, it's relatively easy to fill these gaps. Let's carry those towards the rear a little bit. Let's carry those towards the rear a little bit. Same thing with this one. That's good. Small incremental changes along the way. And we'll just fill these faces as well. And these areas as well, we'll fill those areas as well. Let's fill these areas also. Nope, that's not ready to fix. Okay, so that's where everything else will come in handy. Everything else we did on this side, we gotta do it on the other side now. We gotta do it on the rear. So that's interesting. So before we do that, perhaps what we can do is duplicate this once again and scale it down. Scale it on the x-axis. It's rotating for some reason. I said scale on the x-axis. It is scaling, but why does it look like it's rotating from my perspective? That was like some sort of illusion for a moment. We might need to readjust this a little bit. Same thing with that side. Same thing with this side. With these ones, we carry those ones that way. Something like that. Now we spoke about, the imperfections at the rear, keeping the grooves and everything like that. We want to keep that in mind because that's a real thing. But based on the research that I've done of the model, it's actually a lot more simple than it seemed. I thought the grooves at the back, just to keep the fingers comfortable, I thought those would be a little bit more complicated, a little bit more complex, but actually they were a lot more simplistic than I originally thought. They just weren't as complicated as I originally thought. Let's turn off the face orientations for a moment. I mean, it's coming together. Slowly but surely it is coming together. So like I said, a lot of these areas will have to be duplicated towards the rear. Because what we already duplicated was this part. Now we need these vertices. We need those, but to be honest, it's a little bit inverted, isn't it? Like it's actually a little bit inverted, almost like that. So what I'll instead do, don't take everything, don't take this, just this part. That might actually be useful. And then rotate it a little bit, not too much. And carry this area in. You can see those vertices there. Some of them are poking out just a little bit, predominantly like these ones, those ones right there. Let's carry those in just a little bit. Carry these one in as well. Carry these ones in. Just inverting it, but got to do this manually. We've got to do this manually. There we go. Maybe keep that vertice just kicked out a little bit until we know for sure just the exact curvature with some of these vertices. Then if you wanted, you could duplicate these ones. Don't have to, but we could if they'll be useful. And as for those, we're going to merge at last. And as for these ones, we're going to join this. Nope. These ones right here. We're going to fill that area. Then it would be easier to fill these faces. It'd be easier to fill those faces as well. All the way down, all the way through. Good. As for this area, carry this across. Let's merge those. Actually, not sure if we want to merge those. We might just fill this area as well. That might cause us less problem. Fill that area as well. As for this area, we'll fill that. There we go. Fill this area. Fill that area. And restructure some of these. It's not going to look the exact same as the other side. Honestly, it doesn't have to. In fact, that's probably a good thing if it has some unique design of its own. because this area is still so unpredictable. It's one of those areas where it's hardest to find images. Honestly, with these two, may actually just duplicate, well, just merge those. Might have a triangle right there, but we might fix that eventually. How about these areas? Should we just merge those as well? Then we can fill this area, and we'll fill all the way down. So look a little something like that. This part I'm just wondering about, just wondering if we should just get rid of that little area right there. Let's carry this one up. This is looking good. This is looking really, really good. So good job to you, because this is looking like the real deal. With these areas, we might just insert. We may just insert these areas. Well, that's easier said than done, isn't it? May just do them opposite each other, like this, and extrude again. Yeah, we may just do that. I don't like how this area is so close. Like seriously, looks a little bit too close for my liking. Like I needed to have some spacing. Once again, adjust this as well. Adjust that as well. That looks a little bit better for me. Feels a bit better for me as well. We may just carry this in, but if we do that, just starts messing up with our modifier, with our mirror modifier. Just start messing up, and we don't want that. We don't want that at all. How about some of these vertices? Do we need to carry those back just a little bit? Perhaps. How about these ones? Probably carry them in just a little bit. And these ones we'll fill. Same thing there. We'll see if this works. It works. It does work indeed. How interesting, huh? It does work indeed, and it's actually looking good, which is just a crazy realization that it's actually working. It's actually looking good. We're going to readjust these just a little bit. Carry this one up. Carry this one down slightly. That's good. I wonder if we should just start merging these areas. We could. See how that works? I consider adding another loop right there, but it may just be unnecessary. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Like everything is going well up until possibly around this area. Then things just started looking a little bit out of place, particularly with those ones right there. Let's adjust that as well. Adjust this part as well. We'll just extrude this area as well, and we'll fill this area. I kind of see what the problem is, because just different vertices, different family of vertices. Like this loop is there and this loop is there. So basically this loop should be almost non-existent. Like these should be auto merge almost. But if we auto merge that, messes up our design right there. We could just add another loop right there, if I'm being completely honest. That may fix it. Let's press double G, readjust that one as well. We'll fill this area as well. Oh, so now there's just too much. Now there is just too much. So turns out adding that extra loop cut didn't help us at all. It just made things worse. Let's fill that area. I'll fix that in a moment. And let's continue filling these areas. That's a problem. That is a problem. Look at that. Honestly, I couldn't have predicted this. I wonder, does it look better relaxed, or does it look better with my design? I don't know, because it's not supposed to look too perfect. That's an important key information. It's not supposed to look too perfect at all. I don't know, perhaps that's what we don't need. What if that area is what we don't need? I'll tell you what as well. Before we get rid of that, let's start to fix it from this angle. That might be a better use of our time. And let's fill that area. Let's fill that area. We're just gonna reorganize all of these vertices. Remember now, after all, these are behind the steering wheel, so it just continues to evolve, Fill that face as well, and this will be worth it. This will look a lot better. Like as an end product, this will look a lot better. Now we get to this area and we get to do a little bit of extra investigation. So I'm going to delete this edge. With this vertex, I'm going to carry it up. Carry this one down. And we're going to fill. And we're going to fill that area as well. This is what I mean when I say with these two, I'm just going to have to merge them. Just gonna have to find a solution that way. It's going to be easier to merge these two. And I wonder, with this entire loop right here, I wonder if we're gonna have to merge these two as well. We probably do. Carry these towards the right hand side, because that loop is there, and in a interesting way we're trying to merge those. Probably gonna have to delete this face temporarily. Kind of see what the problem is. It's almost like we need to create something there, pretty much what we already had. But gonna dissolve that edge as well, carry this one up and fill. Now delete this edge as well, and as for these faces, fill. As for this area, carry it to the left hand side just a little bit. As for this edge right there, dissolve. And as for this area, fill. I'd rather that be 5 faces than to be 3. Similar thing there, I'd rather that be 5 faces than to be 3. It's just about principle. It's really about principle. And we might have to add a loop right there, just smoothing it out. That may look good, but if we're going to do that, we may need to be extra careful with how we do it. Honestly, that's looking good. That's looking pretty good. Good job to you if you've made it this far. A tutorial like this, I have no idea how long it's going to be. It could be hours, but it will be worth it, because I also want to see what you're capable of designing. Let's think about closing up there, just around where our light bar is. Just around underneath the light bar, above the light bar is already closed up, but underneath the light bar, we just start closing this part up. And that should be simple enough. And it shouldn't create any problems. Well, don't speak too soon. Let's adjust this side as well. We'll also adjust this side. We'll adjust this as well. Welcome back, everyone. We're continuing with our design process for our Mercedes-Benz AMG steering wheel, the AMG 1. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to create these little light units. I remember this problem actually. We got to do it separately. That's okay, however. We can duplicate these, P to separate. Excellent. So now we're going to do these ones. Excellent. I'm going to duplicate these, P to separate. Excellent. So we got both of those. Control J to join, tab in. Let's save our document. Then we can go ahead and extrude inwards, and we can probably start filling the faces. That's good. I to insert as well. That is excellent. Shade smooth. You can see in the process of just refining this, it's actually separated again. Those vertices, got to keep an eye on those, because at any moment they can decide to throw a spanner in the works. But that right there is a lot better. Well, actually, looking at this right here doesn't look so good actually. So we need to zoom in, get a better idea of what's going on. So I can see these vertices right here that are being a little bit problematic. Let's dissolve those as well. Let's join those. It's really the clipping that's creating so much problem with these ones that I've noticed. It's really the clipping. We're going to flatten this once again. We're going to bring this in just a little bit. That clipping is being a bit of a problem. And we've got some double vertices around here that we need to merge. That's good. Okay, so that's looking good. That is looking excellent. And if anything, if these are a little bit too forward, we can always carry them in just a little bit. We can also scale them up. Don't necessarily have to, but these are the options that are available to us. Okay, let's continue with our design. Now I've managed to get quite a handful of additional images that can be really useful in this situation. So essentially I've done extensive research on this steering wheel again to make sure that we can get everything correct in a way that I can appreciate. We're going to adjust these vertices at the rear just a little bit. As we know, these ones can be a little bit different compared to the ones at the front. So just little adjustments like that can make a huge difference. Something else I noticed on the actual steering wheel is that these areas, One, we're going to flatten this on the y-axis just a little bit. Previously, it wasn't exactly flattened, so we're going to also bring this back a little bit. Like, it is clearly, it is clear on the real design that there is extensive work that takes place, behind the steering wheel as well. We're going to merge these. I'm going to carry this one down just a little bit. Probably carry these ones down also. Actually, merge both of those by accident. In reality, we only want to merge those two. Because even at the rear, steering wheel, it commands its own aesthetic, like even at the rear, like. Now I've got some additional images from the Nico Rosberg YouTube channel. He was collecting his AMG one, and these will be very, very helpful. It basically just allowed me to view the steering wheel from an entirely new perspective. I got some additional footage and screenshots from another channel. I believe this might be Top Gear, and they actually held the real steering wheel in the palm of their hands, showing it off up close. And this just allowed me to really appreciate the detail. Like some things that I learned is like, for instance, this area right here supposed to be extruded in and extruded once again, but hold on a minute. Actually, so let's extrude it once and then extrude it forwards. So it's really interesting how this area is particularly edited. We're going to carry this forwards just a little bit, not too much. It's interesting how they got this part done, because this way the steering wheel is not completely flat on the actual, like this area of the steering wheel, I should say. It's not completely flat, it's got its own thing going on. It's sort of indented it. And then we can add sort of like a loop right there. But you can clearly see it's like it's folded within. It's folded underneath. That's an incredible detail. Like, as far as details go, that is an incredible detail. Like, that is an incredible piece of detail right there. We just want to make sure that we get that part right. And so close out this area, all of that. Like, it's just not flat on the steering wheel. So that's just one thing. Another thing is this area, it's kind of sunken in. While, I mean, we've spoken about this at the start of the modeling process, but just to touch back on this subject, and I think I mentioned most of this already. In fact, looking at the steering wheel right now, it's very apparent that I've actually to stuck more to what, like, it's actually more realistic than I expected, Like, this area is actually the lowest part. Around this circular area is actually the lowest part. And the buttons area, this part suddenly merges out a little bit. This area is relatively flat, not entirely flat, but it's for sure it's not it's not as bulged out as everything else, particularly around the buttons. Speaking of the buttons, some of these we're going to raise. Some of them, not all of them at all. But just some of these buttons, we're actually going to gradually just carry them forward. Not too much, but just a little bit. I'm going to carry this part down just a little bit. Carry this down also. That's it. So that right there, that does look a little bit better. This is one of those areas that, yeah, this is going to be interesting because of the mirror modifier. This would be very interesting. We've got to duplicate this. We've got to scale it down a little bit. P to separate. Yep. And then we're actually going to fill this area. Good decision. I'm going to move this up just a little bit. That's good. We're going to fill this area. We're going to fill these loops. And this needs to be a little bit more intentional, because there are two buttons right there, and I can't exactly remember what they're used for, but there are two buttons right there, and we want to be mindful of that. We're also going to add a loop right there, and we're going to join those. We're going to fill this area. Well, perhaps we should merge this, and we'll fill that area. Well, it's already filled. What was I thinking? I'm going to merge this as well. But these buttons are slightly different. They're slightly, separated. Let's flip normals. There we go. Now, here's what we can do actually. If we're happy with the layouts, that is, if we're happy with the layouts, even if we're not happy with the layouts, what we can actually do is just apply the mirror effect. Now you have two different pieces. So when I add my circle, 16 vertices, align to view, tab in and scale this down, this should sit around there. Well, it should. And carry this down. There we go. And let's extrude. And then let's fill. Then let's insert. There we go. We're going to extrude and scale within a bit more, extrude and scale within, and then extrude this way. So it's a knob. It is a knob. And let's add a loop right there. So it's going to look something like that. Well, actually, keeping it low poly might actually work in our favor, but I don't really want to keep it low poly for now. It's actually also a little bit of a bulky button. It's not as flat as one might perceive to think. And let's press P to separate these so we can basically edit them separately. Let's move these up. Let's move these up. Let's move these up as well. Then what we can do, what we perhaps need to do, not just about what we can do, is adjust this as well and extrude in this direction. Not too much, however, not too much at all. And then add a loop right there. Probably need to add a face right there as well. Probably need to add one right there as well. Well, I actually need to be careful when doing that, because this is where issues might start to arise. And then carry this forwards just a little bit. Just edged out a little bit, not too much at all. Think we need to flip the normals right there. And on this face will actually be a display. Will actually be a screen display. Like that will actually be a screen display of some sort. How does it look from this angle? I'm not entirely happy with it, but the reasons do vary. Alright, that's an important thing right there, is whatever we do on one side, it still affects everything. So we need to be fairly mindful of that. And let's close out this area as well. A lot of these areas, most of them just need to be closed out. So that's what the buttons look like. Actually, this one is actually larger than it looks. Who would have thought? This one right here is actually larger than it looks. Like it actually takes up a lot more space than we imagine. Let's carry that back just a little bit. Yeah, that actually takes up a lot more space than we imagined. Just looking at it now, and you can see that circular design follows everything. Like this design right here, at least on the inside, it's supposed to be a lot more circular than you could ever imagine. And to be honest, this is where things could get a little bit tricky. Could expand it a little bit, but we don't want to expand it too much. There is still supposed to be some gaps, like around that area. There's supposed to be a decent amount of gap. Now this area is actually a bit more challenging. Yep, we can press P to separate right there. P to separate again. P to separate again. Those will be our buttons of sorts. We can carry this forward somewhat. We can extrude a little bit. Same thing with these ones. We can also extrude this way and dissolve, well, delete faces. I'm going to separate these just a little bit so we can clearly tell the difference. And we're going to add some loops to these areas. But that's another thing, isn't it? Like, we got to be careful with how this looks at the end of the day. Now, we could just add loops, but then we got to think about this part. And to be honest, that's actually not a bad idea. Editing that area might actually be easier than the rest. This area needs to be adjusted a little bit like that. So does that area needs to be adjusted. This area also needs to be adjusted. And so do these areas. This is what I meant when I say this would be easier to adjust than anything else. I'm gonna adjust all of this little by little. A lot of these I prefer to just do manually until it feels right to me, especially if I want to give it that human sort of touch. I want to keep some of it, just feeling a little bit natural. We're gonna carry it out just a little bit, not too much, just a little bit, not too much at all. As for these areas, I'm gonna carry those a lot closer together. As for these areas, we'll also adjust this in all manner of directions. We'll adjust all of this. We'll add a loop right there. We'll add a loop right there as well. And we'll add additional loops around these areas. And then we'll carry this closer together. That's a little bit better, but it still needs a bit of work, which is the fun part. These are a little bit too close for my liking. Need to bring those back. Same thing with these. Need to bring these back. This one is not so bad, but we'll carry it back anyway. And so will we do with that one also. Absolutely. So how is that looking for our Mercedes steering wheel? These little buttons you see around there, that might pose a little bit more of a challenge. We're going to add a loop right there. And as for this area, we'll just rearrange it a little bit. And we're going to join that area. Good, so look a little bit something like that. We'll carry this out somewhat. We'll carry this out as well. As for this loop right here, we'll just press P to separate for now. We'll flatten it as well. To be honest, we do want to close this out, so let's undo that for a moment. Nope, actually, I was right. I was right to separate it because we're going to merge it with these. But since we're going to merge it, we don't need that side. So if I start filling these faces, should make sense. Fill in those areas as well. And we'll fill this area as well. All the way down. All the way around as well. As for this area, we're going to extrude and extrude again. Carry this one back just a little bit. And we'll merge this. Now this area we'll fill. We'll add a loop right there. Well, we'll add a vertex right there. And there we go. We can fill those areas as well. We'll add another vertex right there. And we will fill this area. Let's fill that area too. That's looking a little bit better. And because it's the rear, we don't have to be a perfectionist with it. We do, however, still want to be tidy with our work. That's imperative. Let's fill that area. Let's fill that area also. Good. And now up next, that's a different question, isn't it? So let's just hide this for a minute. It's one thing to fill those faces, but then we got to figure out how to do this in the most appropriate way. Really given ourselves a challenge, haven't we? Just going to restructure that a little bit. Just press double G to move some of those around. Fill these remainder faces. Well, this might be even more interesting than we originally thought of. Or is these supposed to be merge? Are we supposed to merge those? Perhaps. How about this area? Perhaps we're supposed to merge this also. And so on with that area. We'll merge this as well. This is where it really gets interesting. Carry this up and let's merge at last. Something tells me that's not the wisest idea, if I'm being completely honest. Something tells me that's not the wisest idea. Let's dissolve that area right there. Perhaps we need to dissolve this area. So the question is, how would that work? I mean, that part is simple enough, but there is still some areas where leaves me questioning. Just leaves some questions. I see. This is completely unnecessary as far as I'm concerned. Let's merge this by last. Good, and let's fill this face. I just saw what the problem was. Yeah, that area was just completely unnecessary. We can then add loop cuts right there. Add a loop cut right there as well. Looks like we already have a loop cut right there. So keep that in mind. Don't want it to be, don't want that area to be too sharp, but we also don't want it to be too clumsy. And we can fill this area. Then we can join this as well, and join those as well. We'll join these as well. We'll adjust this. Okay, with this area we'll fill, and we'll join those areas. We'll also join these areas. Excellent. This right here may need some adjusting, so just press double G, carry it inwards just a little bit. Add a loop right there. Probably add a loop right there also. Probably add one there as well. Except we already have a loop in there, so good. So that's looking excellent. I'm not entirely happy with these areas. They probably need a little bit of, yeah, definitely need some extra work. Let's carry this one down just a bit. Let's dissolve that area. Let's dissolve that area as well. Let's see if we can carry these a little bit closer together to close it out. It just looks a little bit untidy. I might work on that part off screen as well. Those are the details that would take some extra time. And if anything, hold on, we need I think we need a loop cut right there. Yeah, does that work? Because it's leaving this little area right there exposed. Don't quite like the way how that one looks. Perhaps just a loop right there. Perhaps that would work. Yeah, somewhat. I think this is my first realistic steering wheel that I've worked on. So considering everything, I'm actually quite happy with it, to be honest. Considering everything. Yeah, considering everything, I'm actually quite happy with it. So that is coming together a little bit better. I just wonder if we need to close this out. Yes, we do. We need to carry this down, perhaps. How about carrying these in? How about adding a loop right there? And how about merging these right there? And carry this one out just a little bit. This area, let's carry this one down just a little bit. Carry this one down just a little bit. These are all the final tune area, you know, just making sure things are as you expect, as you'd like. Now, this is where it could get interesting. As for the design elements and stuff like that, this is where it could get interesting. Because you see those handles right there. This is all very, very intricate. So we know that area, it connects. That area connects. Looks like, so this area will definitely connect. Both of those areas will connect, of course. That area does not connect. So that's good. Well, that sort of gives us an idea of what we're working with here, because it's almost as if we can do it manually, almost. Which I gotta say I'm curious about. We're gonna save this in increments once again, and here's what we're going to do. I'm just trying something here. If this doesn't work, then there's plenty of other methods I could use to see if this will work as well. We may need a mirror modifier just for now. Just humor me for a minute while we try this. So one, I'll scale this down once again, but scale it on the z-axis for now. Good. And this one sort of comes up a little bit. This one is kind of like down there just a little bit. This one is all the way over here. So I'm just trying this just to see if it would actually work. There's other ways of doing this, probably simpler ways of doing this also. But I don't know. I like to try new ways of doing things. Especially if you got like nothing to lose, then by all means, give it a go. By all means, give it a go. Carry this one down just a little bit. Probably need a vertice right there. Probably do, probably don't. This one would sit somewhere around there. I mean, yeah, that could work pretty damn good if I'm being completely honest. Because even underneath, it's not entirely circular. It gets a little bit flat. Yeah, we got a lot of loop cuts right there. So that is a little idea of what could take place. Now, of course, that looks ridiculous, but once we would probably turn on active element, once we would like scale this in, well, actually, you know what? Don't get rid of that one. Just add a new one and try to scale this in. This one, probably just carry this one back just a little bit. And I'm curious just how this would look if we then extrude and flatten this. I wonder if any of it should be flattened. Probably flatten this as well on the y-axis, of course. I'm just curious. I mean, looks like an ugly pancake, but it's actually not too far from the truth. We're gonna flatten this. We're gonna raise this area. Probably carry this one down, carry these ones down a little bit. Yeah, it kind of looks like just an ugly pancake. And it's closer to the stern wheel, kind of like that. And I don't know, this area is kind of like this. So this is just a theory, you know, just theoretical, because it gets even more complex because then it goes into the flappy gear pedals, you know. Oof, and that's a good point as well. Right there is probably similar to where the flappy gear pedals are. Somewhere around there. Just around there. So it's actually perfectly around here. Somewhere around there. That's where the flappy gear pedals are. Which kind of means I would essentially delete those faces. And then I'd fill this area. I would add a loop right there. Add a loop right there as well. And I'd carry this one in. And I'll join this area. And carry this one in also. Let's see. We'll probably join this as well. Carry this one there as well. Flatten that one. Well, and then carry this up. Carry this across. Carry this one across as well. So it look a little something like that. Let's continue modeling our stern wheel. Something we should have probably done a long time ago is put all of these in a stern wheel collection. So let's name our stern wheel collection. Basically select everything and press M to create a new collection. Let's turn on screencast keys again. So if we hide this, we can simply go to our stern wheel collection and it's in there. Now as for this, we're going to put this in the background images. Let's get that in the background images as well. So now we can, for one, it's just easier to locate the background images now. Now you remember we had this group of vertices that we cleverly kept, did not delete it. Good job. So now we can start modeling this area of the vehicle, the buttons. So remember, this is a really important time to use your reference images as much as possible so that we get these buttons accurately. First, we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill this area. Now we know that there's a button right there. We'll keep that in mind. We'll add some vertices around these areas. Then we'll extrude this. We'll extrude it down. We'll add some additional vertices around those areas. We're going to fill this area. There's another button right there. There's another button right there naturally. We're going to carry this vertice up just a small amount. Carry that one down. Basically just level this out. Get another vertice right there. Carry these ones down. And we're going to fill that area also. Let's fill this area. Let's add another loop right there. We're going to straighten this out, but on the x-axis. Same thing with this one. These are already straightened out. That's perfect. Let's straighten this one out on the z-axis. This one, we want it to be straightened out on the z-axis as well. Straighten these out on the z-axis also. Let's add a loop right there. As for these faces, we're going to fill almost identical to over there. Let's carry these ones down. Now, you got to remember, this blueprint is not perfectly flat. So we got to keep that in mind, that our own design should not entirely be perfectly flat. If anything, don't even worry about the edges right now. Just think about getting everything to be symmetrical and flat for now. We're going to fill this face as well. Same thing right here. Flatten these out. Add some loops. Flatten those out as well. Add some loops right there. Flatten those out as well. As for this, we're going to join. These ones we're going to join as well. Can add some additional loops up there. Well, vertices I should say. Let's join those, let's join those. Flatten these areas once again. Now the unique thing is that these buttons, they're not entirely flat like I'm designing. As you can see, they're a little bit warped. You know, they're a little bit warped like that. Like they're genuinely tilted to the side. But the reason I keep it flat for now is because it makes more sense to keep it flat for now. Later, we can rearrange these vertices because then we need to cut them out. Such as these faces, like we gotta remove those faces. Such as this face, we gotta remove this one. And then we gotta rearrange these vertices like that. So I want to keep it flat for now because honestly, it'll probably make more sense if we keep it flat for now. On the actual steering wheel, the buttons are tilted, but our blueprint is also tilted. So if we follow the blueprint too much, it's not going to look right at all. So the display buttons, the buttons are actually physical, but the icons, they're digital. So you don't really need to worry about those. What we do need to design now is this little area, which could pose some challenges, but nonetheless, those are probably good challenges. You can see this is not perfectly aligned. It's off center. It is off center. It would be ideal if it was perfectly aligned, but that's okay. Let's fill those faces. Well, actually, these ones, let's fill that first. Then we'll fill those faces. Probably fill these ones first, actually. And then we can fill that face. That's a little bit better. Although something is going on right there. Not sure what. Or it's probably just missing a vertice. Like if we join those, that'll probably fix it. There we go. Let's line that one up as well. These ones, we're going to join those, get those lined up. Join those, get those lined up as well. And same thing on this side. And let's fill this area. We're going to flatten this. We're going to flatten this area. And we're going to fill that area. Going to carry this to the right hand side. That's perfect. Then we're going to start thinking about the cutout. Like I said, it's not perfectly centered, but it's a little bit something like that. Still need to add those places. So now you can clearly see, due to how we're designing it, it's going to be like it's off center, which is accurate. Let's join those. Let's add another vertex right there. We'll join those. And we want to flip these normals. Let's flip these normals and let's turn inside. That's better. A little bit later, we can start adjusting those, and this will make a lot more sense, just like that. With these areas, we're going to fill those as well, and we're going to flatten this. Going to carry this down, and we're going to fill that area. Going to adjust those as well, so you can see gradually it's starting to look a little bit better. And while this area is not supposed to be flat, like I said, keep it flat for now. Let's add some loops. And we want to fill these faces. Let's add some more additional loops. We're also going to fill those faces. Let's carry this across a little bit more. That's better. As for these, we're going to join those areas. We're going to join this area as well. We're going to join those vertices and join that as well. And let's adjust these, join those as well, join those as well. That's a little bit better, but I do think this might have to be adjusted a bit more. So eventually this is going to be tilted almost like that. So it follows the curvature of the steering wheel. You can see the entire thing is slightly tilted. It's going to be a little bit tilted like that. And as for those buttons, same thing with those. They're going to be a little bit tilted like that, which may seem weird, but once you start extruding, it'll probably start making more sense. This area can also be extruded. Add some vertices right there. And that's looking a little bit better. But even this area is probably a little bit rotated as well. Not by much, but it is a little bit. And I wonder if we need to carry this towards the left-hand side, just a small amount. So now, how do we fix this area? Do we add vertices right there, perhaps? That's one strategy. Let's shade smooth. Probably need to add more vertices right there. But you see, I don't like how it looks. Like, from that perspective, I don't like how it just feels as if there's not enough space. And do we need to adjust this a little bit more? Perhaps. Add a loop right there. Let's readjust those. All of these, in fact. Do we need to do that as well? Perhaps. Let's add some loops right there as well. That is looking a little bit better. But there are some finer details that we need to be aware of, like this circular button right there. It means that that's not completely flat. And what that basically means is that we kind of need vertices around that area as well, so that these ones, we can carry them up, carry them across just a little bit, up again and across a little bit. And let's add some additional loop cuts to those areas. Similar thing with that side. With these ones, we're going to carry these down just a little bit and add some additional vertices right there. So it's going to look a little something like that. We can add loop cuts in there. That's one way to sharpen that up. But let's save in increments. We will add a loop cut, but with this entire area, one thing we need to do is to bezel it. It is bezeled, believe it or not. If you look closer at the steering wheel, it is bezeled, and it's done in a very, very specific way. Almost like that. Don't know how to explain it. It's almost as if you sort of have to look at it, from your own perspective. Let's turn off the wireframes for a moment. But it's kind of like that on the real car. It's kind of bezel like that. If anything, I think the outer loop has a little bit more spacing, if I'm being honest. How about those buttons there? The bezels are quite sharp on those areas, so add loops in there, and there we go. I have a feeling they need to be a little bit more sharp. Let's join those ones, and join these as well. As for this area, similar thing. It's quite sharp. Let's add a loop right there. Let's add loops around there as well. Probably not that sharp. There's still, that's better. Save that once again. With the entire thing, I'm going to carry it closer to the vehicle, like that. I want to tilt it on the z-axis, but not by much. Small amount. Tilt it on the z-axis again, just a little bit. It's really not by much. And then, with the edges, we're going to extrude it inwards, like that. And add a loop right there. Now you can see, like, it doesn't look seamless, and this is where the real work begins, in a sense, like readjusting all of this so it does feel seamless. And the adjustments, they need to come from this area, and this could take some while, but it would be worth it once you readjust these vertices. Let's carry that down. Let's carry that up. Carry this up also. Looking at it again, this bezel area, it is a lot more inclusive. So it's a lot more adjusted on the z-axis and on the x-axis as well. Probably a little bit more like that, quite a bit, and carry it down a little bit. Like, if you look at the real thing, it is very, very much exaggerated. Carry it towards the left hand side a little bit. It's very, very much like that. And these buttons, we're going to adjust them also, not by much. This area should be flat and then rotated. But I see what the problem is. Need some additional loops around those areas. That's better. Then we're going to duplicate this. Actually, let's duplicate both of those. Carry them out. P to separate. That's good. Tab in. Fill faces. Extrude. Extrude within. Select all. Carry it within once again. So then we can easily join these vertices. One thing I always notice with Mercedes designs, it's like Mercedes designs interior, the technology side of their design, but also even the buttons sometimes. Why does it look so familiar to BlackBerry? Like the old BlackBerry phones. I can't be the only one who've noticed this. There you go, the BlackBerry phone. You see those buttons? Very similar to Mercedes car. Not just the AMG one, but a wide range of Mercedes car. But also the BlackBerry, OS, the operating system of their mobile phones and technology, always feels a little bit similar You know, always feels a little bit similar to, you know, to Mercedes to the Mercedes, technology system, always seems a little bit similar. Don't know why. Now we need to duplicate this. Let's carry it out. P to separate, fill that area, join those vertices, join those, extrude this way, take all of them, carry it out just a little bit, and once again, add a loop right there. With everything, just carry it out just a touch. I wonder if we need to add loops in these ones as well. Yeah, just a little bit. Carry it out just a touch, not too much. Although this side looks a bit more extruded than that side. So carry this one out as well, just a little bit. Can always readjust those if we wanted to. This is looking good. How about this area? Well, for one, I want to carry them down just a little bit. Take another look, and you can clearly see these needs to be readjusted. How about this area? Readjust that as well. Perhaps this side as well. How about this side? Carry that down and separate these slightly. Separate that one slightly as well. We're really just smoothing out these edges. So it's a little bit more like that, if I'm being completely honest. And that is looking stunning. I wouldn't imagine I'd be able to do this some months ago or probably a year ago. But here we are experimenting, trying new things, pushing the boundaries of Blender. These particular vertices are going to carry those down just a little bit. These ones are going to carry this down just a little bit. How about these ones? Well, actually this area, just separate it just a little bit and carry that down just a little bit. How about this area? Do we need to carry this down just a bit and readjust that? It's all about just closing out these loops, these areas as well. And I wonder if I should bezel this edge. It's tempting. We don't need to do it, but we could if we wanted to, and add loops around those areas. That's also an option, but I doubt that's necessary. And it's not necessary. It's not all about It's not all about the necessity either. It's really about like just sometimes just doing what feels right. Let's carry that to the left-hand side slightly. I mean, does that feel right? I mean, it doesn't look wrong either. To be honest, I kind of like it. I kind of like it just changing a few things. You see these buttons? I've always been a little bit unhappy with them. Might even have to redesign that area because looking back at it, you always notice new details. Like for instance, I'm not too sure if this button right there is supposed to be like that. I think this area might need to be closed off. And these buttons, they essentially just go on top of the carbon fiber, the natural carbon fiber that's there. So even those areas might need to be a little bit redesigned. Okay, we're going to duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to carry it out. I'm going to press P to separate. We are going to extrude inwards. We're going to fill. We're going to fill this area as well. And then we probably have to connect these, which is okay. That is okay. This might take some time, but this is one of the ways of doing this. You could add just new meshes. Well, you could just use a cylinder to get something similar created. Let's join those as well. Let's join these as well. And let's join those. Let's join this area. Actually, that area might be a little bit challenging. Add some vertices right there as well. Add a loop right there. Join those. Add another loop right there. Join those as well. If this doesn't work, then we can always retry things, but it's working somewhat. So naturally, you want to join these ones and join those as well. Join those ones and join this one as well. And readjust this. Join those, join those, join those, and join those. Join that area and join this as well. Let's see how that looks. Not too bad actually. Not too bad. However, I think these areas may need to be scaled out because it's sort of circular, which is why I suggested it's kind of circular, but yeah. So you could just use a cylinder to get this done. And to be honest, a cylinder doing this would probably work out. Starting to think that these are not well aligned, and we might want to align those better, because now that we've got this, we can see that the alignment is somewhat off. Honestly, even that could be a placeholder for now. It's the identical things, identical instruments on either side, but they're for different purposes. So there are some areas that we need to do some more research. That's these buttons. I don't like them. I don't like those. I think these places should be full of carbon fiber, and those buttons, they just go on top. But let's see what we can do with this one. Let's see if that one even looks okay. I don't even like how that one looks, to be honest, but we tried that, and we'll probably use a cylinder. Yeah, we'll probably use a cylinder for this area, then extrude it on either side, and narrow it on either side as well, because it's narrow, it's not circular. On that side, it's circular on this side, and then extrude that little face right there. So you can already imagine how that could work, you know? So how about a progress update on our stern wheel? Looking good. Looking good, you know? From here, things just need some refining and some additional touches, some additional details, but it really just needs some gradual refining from here. So let's get that saved as well. And refining is where it could take a long time. So we're not really going to do that in this video. This video is just to help you to design stern wheels. The refining could take hours, days, weeks. So I leave that part up to you. It's like your homework. You know, if you decide that, you know what, I want to refine it even more, then that's possible. This is not the end of the video. We still got some work to do. I'm not just going to leave you here. But honestly, just checking it out, that looks amazing. You know, it's not extremely, high, it's not extremely like well done or anything like that, but it does look amazing. Okay, that part is definitely not pink. It's a dark kind of color. It's a little bit like that, but it's leather, you know. These areas for our buttons, of course, very much on the softer side, but metallic as well. Got blue buttons, we got red buttons, can probably even keep it like that for now if we wanted to. This area, this button is black, but it's glossy, very glossy, kind of like that. But the face is, on the actual topology, it's the face is very flat, particularly in that type of area. It's very flat. Yeah, let me know what you think. So like I said, not the end of the video. Got some more work to do. This video probably end up being 2 hours long, 3 hours long. I have no idea, but it'll be worth it. Like this is just to keep us going. This motivation, is just to keep us going. Like we're not completely lost. Like we're getting there. The topology is definitely not perfect. Like look at this area, the topology is definitely not perfect. If we get any imperfections like that, I prefer to get rid of some of these loops sometimes, because from a distance they just look bad. Even that looks a little bit better. Still not perfect, but looks a little bit better. And figure that part out. Seriously, I want to do some more research on that area. Let's continue with this car design. So a few things that I've learned, just, analyzing some images I've seen, at the top, very circular. At the sides, the handles, very protruded, slightly protruded, and almost flat at the bottom. So that's what we're going to continue doing. One of the ways we'll do this is probably getting rid of this for now. And another thing we'll also do is probably bringing this out slightly, but these ones in particular, they need to be quite a bit extruded. So we're going to carry these out very much, kind of like that. Also, these ones, we'll carry these ones out also, carry them out a little bit more. And, you know, we want them to be almost on the same level or a similar level of some sort. So we almost want to level them out. So we're going to carry these up also. Probably add vertice right there. That's better. As for these two, we're going to carry these out just a little bit also. Some of these we might actually get rid of, you know, if they don't, if they have no use. So we'll probably just dissolve some of these right there. Now, as for this side as well, it's actually quite a bit protruded also, which kind of give me the vibe that, which I will then put these on a similar level. Place them on a similar level like there. That's better. As for these ones, we'll carry these ones out. And press double G to rearrange those. So essentially, we're just giving it that prominence that we've seen on display. Press double G and give these ones some spacing, a little bit of spacing right there. We're going to work on that some more. Now this area down here, that's actually quite flat. So flatten it for one, carry it down. These vertices in particular, carry these ones down. Well, I think it's more of a separation, to be honest. Almost like these are closer together, but this is further up, and these ones are further down. Something like that. A few more things we need to do. Add some loop cuts around these areas and join those. Join those vertices and join these vertices also. And then we're going to carry these closer together. That's good. We're going to flatten this on the y-axis. That's good. We're going to keep that one there for now, but I think we can give it some spacing around this area. Similar thing with these ones. Just some spacing would be good. Even these vertices right here, some spacing would be good. And how about this side? Do we need to flatten that? Perhaps. How about that area? Do we need to flatten this also? Having that continuation of that right there. Do we need to carry this in? Do we need to add another vertex right there? Perhaps. Once again, create some separations right there. Have some separations right there as well. And probably join these. But it doesn't look too good. That's the only thing, that's the only problem I have with that one. It didn't look the best once we join those. Could join it manually to see if it fixed the problem. Slightly fixed the problem. Perhaps we just need to carry this one out. Carry these out also. As for these ones, we need to use our loop tools and probably relax this area. Let's see how it look if it relaxed. That's better. And relax this area also. That's a little bit better. So what's going on right here? Question is this even necessary? Could we flatten that area like that? Probably unnecessary. Or do we just need to get rid of that? But if we added a new group of vertices, I see from the other side, that is necessary from the other side. But they need to be on a similar level. Yeah, that's better. Although this can be brought out and brought down. Carry this down as well. Carry this out. You know what, with this area, I probably want to bring this down a bit more and flatten those ones, carry it down a bit more. Although it doesn't look too good. Don't like the way it looks. I prefer it like that, to be honest. But perhaps once we take these faces and we extrude, we can then extrude inwards. It's extruded on active elements. Let's change the pivot point to median point. There we go. Carry that inwards just a little bit. That's good. Vertices like this need to be carried up. Vertices like this need to be carried down. That is good. And close out this area. Well, to do that, we need the clipping enable. As for this area, I think I might create some manual vertices like that, such as this. I think I might do it that way. Could be easier to, could be simpler to fix it like that. That's better. Let's carry this down, carry this to the right hand side. Then if we add a loop inside there, that looks a lot better. Probably not this area, however. So this one, quite a few of these, they need to be relocated. As for these vertices, they also need to be readjusted. Behind the steering wheel, these vertices also need to be readjusted. So let's select those and carry them forward just a little bit, such as these ones as well. That's good. Let's dissolve that vertex right there. Probably dissolve that one as well. Let's carry that one across, and we'll carry this one across as well. That's better. And as for these areas, I'm going to create some faces, some individual faces. So I want to insert these faces. Same thing with this one, insert that one. And we're going to use loop tools to turn these into circles. Loop tools and turn these into circles. I just don't like the way it's rotated, so I'm going to rotate it again on the Y-axis and scale it down. Rotate it again, Y-axis, and scale it down. Nice. Probably scale it down a bit more. Insert these ones, and I to insert, and probably delete face right there. Same for this one, insert on the Y-axis. Well, extrude on the Y-axis, but extrude it inwards, and delete. Delete face. That's a bit better. Then if we wanted to, we can add loops on the inside like that. Could add another loop on the inside right there. That's excellent. With these ones, we could then duplicate this, carry it towards the rear, P to separate. Same thing on this side. Just duplicate this, carry that one towards the rear. That's good. Tab in, carry this one forward, and extrude. Extrude towards the rear. So essentially, these will be our wiring system. That's what these are, our wiring system. This might need to be a little bit more scaled down. And set the normals on these. As for this one, scale it up a bit more. I think these need to be scaled down. That's better. Those ones, scale those down as well. That's better. Shade smooth for these ones. Those are our wiring system. So then, depending on how the wiring system works, may do something like this. Carry these alongside those areas. Extrude again. Maybe rotate on the x-axis. Rotate on the z-axis. Position across there. Rotate this one on the x-axis. Extrude along there as well. Carry this one out. Carry this one across. And we'll carry these ones down. That's good. Carry this one up. And we might rotate these as well. Well, that all depends, to be honest. But those would be our wiring system. Fairly simple, just using a group of vertices. As for this one, carry this one out. Carry this one out also. Carry these ones out. Carry these ones out also. Rotate. Carry these ones along this side. Something along those lines will be our wiring system. Obviously, right now it's not too. These ones are a little bit too high. Like, need some spacing, and these ones need to come out like that. But don't forget, leave that spacing so it looks. Keep the realistic look. Like, select those, carry those down. We want that spacing. Same thing right there. Same thing right there. As for these ones, carry these ones along those sides. As for those ones, rearrange those ones as well. So you see, with some patience, that's starting to look a little bit better. So how about the rear of our handle? Looking good. And then we'll need to cut out these areas. That's the thing. We'll need to cut out those areas. But we're not sure by how much. It's quite a bit. It's quite a bit, actually. It's quite a bit. But it goes around the circumference. Like, almost as if this needs to be a little bit more like that. These two need to come up a bit more like this. That's good. Extrude and extrude again. And then we're just going to carry this in. That's better. That's better. Create a little doorway right there. That's what we end up with. I wonder if this one needs to come up just a bit, because I like the way how this one looks. So I wonder if we just have too many vertices, perhaps. Perhaps that's it. Perhaps we just need to rearrange this a little bit. But all of those vertices. Carry these ones down, flatten those ones, carry these ones back, carry it back a little bit more. That's better. Needs a bit more work to look natural, but that's a good start. Then we're going to create this right here and our little handle. This part we kind of have to do our own thing, but how interesting that I think it comes up all the way out there. That's the part that's interesting. Like, I think this entire thing is cut out, which is interesting. So let's duplicate it once. Well, let's extrude and then extrude again. And this one will actually carry inside as well, but quite a bit more. Carry it forward. As for these areas, fill those areas. As for these areas, merge those areas. I'm going to merge that as well. Well, actually, these are not supposed to be merged, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's just rearrange this and let's fill that face. And then we carry these closer together and carry these ones down. So it looks something like that. So these areas fill. So these vertices will fill. Carry this one that way. We'll fill that area as well. And then carry these a bit closer together and carry these up. It'll end up looking a little something like that. Scale these down on the z-axis. Carry these that way a little bit and adjust these again and carry this up. So it looks super exposed, probably a bit too exposed, so we want to keep an eye on that as well. You can see this area, the cutout. Yeah, I think this area might be, might need to be deleted. And I think this area, this face might actually be fill. But once again, extrude, carry this one back just a little bit and extrude, but we're going to extrude inwards. These ones, they need to be merged. Those ones, merge those ones as well. Let's merge those ones and let's merge these ones as well. It feels a bit more like that from what I've looked at. And carry these ones in, carry them out. Feels a bit more like that if I'm being honest. Or is it carried in like that? Probably is. Let's add a vertex right there. Fill those areas. Is this one also carried in a little bit? Perhaps. And as for this area, carry that area out a little bit. This area, carry these vertices out. Carry these vertices out as well. And arrange these ones. Carry this one out as well. Carry this one up. Rearrange that one right there. And this is one of those areas that probably takes some time to get right, but it'll probably be worth it. Not even probably, it will be worth it. Let's carry this one up, try to level it out. I wonder if these areas, if we need to separate them a little bit, if they're a little bit too close together. Perhaps. Same thing right there. Probably add a loop cut right there if we wanted to. We don't have to, but we could. Probably not. What about a loop cut right there? Hard to say. Hard to say. You know what, with these ones, let's carry these ones in. Let's add a loop right there. Let's add a loop right there. So it looks a little bit more like that. Probably separate these even more. Let's carry these ones up. So it look a little something like that. Now these wirings, they actually go into the top. They actually go into the top of the stern wheel. So somewhere around here, these faces are extruded in, turn these into circles, rotate them on the Y to your preference, turn this one into circle and rotate as well, scale this one up, rotate a bit more, scale this one down, almost like that. Scale this one up, and then extrude. Extrude and I to insert. This one, same thing, extrude down on the z-axis, I to insert. So end up looking a little something like this. So that these vertices can probably take away that part, delete those vertices, But these vertices right there, we'll just rearrange them. Flatten this one, flatten it on the, we want this loop to be flat. It's actually not flattening, but we'll do it ourselves and then carry it down, add a loop cut right there, and rearrange that one like that. And a similar thing right there. Extrude this area, flatten that area on the x-axis, carry it back, add a loop right there, carry that one out, and rearrange that one. Scale this up, carry this back, carry that one back a little bit. So they'll look a little something like this, but you need to give them some characteristics. They don't need to be super over exaggerated, to be honest. Scale this one up a little bit, carry it back. Yeah, they don't need to be like super obvious, just a little bit of characteristics. Probably carry this area down as well. As for this area, carry that area down, reorganize that area as well. As for this area, carry this one down also. Same thing with this area, carry it down. A little like that. But now you see this area, we'll add some loop cuts on the inside. And we'll probably scale this up, carry it there. With this one, that vertex right there, let's just separate that, give it some spacing, and carry it up. Actually, carry it all the way up. Yeah, some real spacing. And carry that one out as well. How about this area? Do we need to also carry this out? Probably not. Do we need to carry that one in like that and carry it down? Probably do. So how's that looking now? It's looking better. Then we just need to create the mechanism and the handle that fits in there. Honestly, with this area, I think even here is deleted. Like seriously, based on, but you don't have to go that far. That's if you want to have like extreme detail. That's up to you. Now these, I already told you, I'm not particularly liking these. I might create a new folder calling them junk and just hiding them there. Same thing with this one. I might just put that in the junk folder and I might hide those for now. And as for these, you know, one of the problem is we might just have too many vertices. Maybe not. We need the vertices out there. That's the thing. But we actually want this area to have a circular type of design instead of too rigid. I'd say the entire thing needs to feel a lot more like a circular design. So I'm actually going to draw these a lot closer together. I'm going to separate these quite a bit. We're going to carry these a lot closer together as well. Carry these closer and carry these ones closer as well. As for this area, just rearrange it a little bit. I'm still not liking it. I am still not liking it. Even with those, like, still not liking it. I think this does need to be scaled down a little bit. Probably carry this up. But this area is a bit of a trouble to get right. I don't even consider that to look better necessarily, but I created those junk files just in case we just don't like the way how the design overall, the direction. Like if you don't like the overall design direction, created that file specific. I'm still not liking it. Like I feel like this would take me a lot longer to figure out. Maybe someone else watching this video can figure it out and maybe they'll share it with the community. As for these vertices, I want to carry these out just a bit more. Carry these out also. But if we start doing that, then it could messes up with the entire thing. So best way to do this is to actually adjust these vertices rather than anything else. Yep, adjust those vertices rather than anything else. That's looking good. You can probably add an emissions to this, or perhaps a glass. That's a good idea. Let's add a glass to that area. Let's turn down the roughness a little bit. Let's tab in, X-ray mode, duplicate these. I want to scale them down on the individual origins. Scale them down on individual origins and carry them back. These will be our lights. So now we can add an emissions. Let's give them an amber, sort of like an amber kind of color. That's what it would look like in the render mode. And this is what it would look like in materials perspective. I think the only area that we got left is this button right here that I wanted to redesign, and then this area. So as for this area, we're going to put this into, yeah, let's put that into junk. And then we're going to hide it. We're then going to add a cylinder. I don't want a lot of vertices. In fact, I don't even think I want 12. How about 6? You know what, we'll go with 12. We'll go with 12, then we'll tab in. We'll scale this all the way down. And then I want to rotate it on the y-axis 90 degrees. Scale it down even more. Carry it alongside the left-hand side. Carry it up slightly. And then scale it out on the x-axis. Carry it across on the x-axis a little bit. Let's go back into our material view. Let's go back into our shading view. And with both of these, we can then fill these faces. Well, with this side, that side, with this group of face, we can insert. This group of face, we can also insert. And then we can extrude on either side. And extrude on this side also. And extrude a little bit more. Let's shade smooth. Extrude in again. And let's extrude it again. Select everything and carry it into the object. As I didn't realize it was that far away. This area, I feel like this needs to be scaled up, but first we need to add vertices right there. Well, we need to add loop cuts right there, I should say. Let's carry them a lot closer together. And then let's scale this one, scale it quite a bit. Carry this one out just a little bit. Carry that one out just a little bit. Select everything and scale up. That's good. And let's add some loops. Some additional loop cuts in there. That's better. And shade smooth. So we know that there's some faces that are, I'll extrude this face as well. So extrude it out, select everything and rotate on the x-axis a small amount. And then we can add loop cuts in there. Let's add some additional loop cuts there as well. Loop cuts on either side. That's good. And then let's tab in and select these vertices. I select those vertices as well. That's good. That's good. And then let's scale them down on the z-axis, kind of like that. Add some loop cuts, additional loop cuts around these areas. That's excellent. And with everything, we're going to rotate on the y-axis, kind of like that, and scale it up. Probably carry it up a little bit more. That's better. Then what we can do is we can adjust this. We can adjust these vertices to suit our design. There we go. And let's carry this one out. Then let's carry this up also. And let's carry this one along this side as well. That's good. And carry this one down as well. But how about these sides? But how about there? Do we need to carry this out, or is it just like it's not sharp enough, so we got to add loop cuts around there? That's better. And as for this area, similar thing. Let's carry this one out. Let's carry this one there. Let's add loop cuts around these areas. Let's add loop cuts around those areas. Let's carry this one up. Let's carry it along that side. And let's carry this one up as well. Let's carry this one up. Let's carry it along that side as well. And then let's add some loops right here. We know these ones, they need to be carried down, carried in slightly, carry this one there, carry this one down, carry this one there, and carry this one there. Let's carry this one there as well. And let's carry all of this down. Let's carry this one down as well. And let's carry this one up. Let's carry this one down. Good. As for these, carry these ones there. There we go. Well, actually, that might be a little bit too much of an issue. So let's add one there instead. Actually, this area needs to be carried out like that. Same thing going on right there. And same thing going on right there. And carry it up, actually. And carry this up. Very, very good. Let's select these vertices. And those ones, we're going to carry it in slightly like that. They don't need to be too protruded. As for these areas, I'm going to select these vertices and carry them back like that. I'm going to scale them up and I'm going to extrude. So with the entire thing, we're going to scale up quite a bit. With this one, we're going to extrude again, but then carry it down like that and extrude inwards. This one, going to extrude and extrude inwards. So if anything, we can actually have this part separated, carry it down, carry it across, this one, carry it there, carry it up slightly, and shade smooth with that area, and add some loops with this area. That's better. Select everything, duplicate, carry it to this side, move it up slightly. That's better. Well, again, separate this. Carry it down and carry it across. Carry it down again. And as for this area, we'll probably carry this up a little bit. Carry that one up a little bit also. Same thing right there, just carry this up a little bit. We'll add another loop right there. See if it can help us. Carry this one down. That's not bad. Well, I just don't like the way it looks right there. So maybe we need to rearrange this again and rearrange those again. No, I'm not liking it. Maybe add it right there. But again, it affects that area. I'm not liking it either. But this is good. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a mirror modifier. Let's add a mirror modifier. That's perfect. As for this area, we can probably start closing that area out and extrude, well, insert, I should say. Similar thing right there. Fill that area and insert, but delete face. Delete that face. That's it. But need to carry this across so it's a bit closer. Similar thing right there, needs to be a bit closer. Add a loop around this area. That's better. Fill this area, insert, delete face, and add another loop in there. That is good. How about this area? Do we need to carry this across just a little bit like that? Perhaps. Yeah, perhaps. In these areas, we may just need to close that out. Now this will be fabric, so that's also something to keep in mind. Probably going to do that in another video when it comes to the full material. Probably end up doing that in another video. How about this area? Yeah, need a loop right there. And we need to carry it out, carry it down a little bit like that. That's better. Starting to run low on battery, so that's interesting. Good to know that we're working hard. That's how you know you're working hard, running low on battery. I spoke about this area as well, like add in some additional details right there if we wanted to. We could. Nothing stopping us from doing that. Also, right there if we wanted to. And we could join that. Or do we want to join this one? Again, it doesn't even need to be that prominent. If I'm being honest, can press double G. Give it some distancing. Double G on that one. Doesn't need to be that prominent, but makes a difference. Like this is where you can have some fun. You can change the design slightly, not too much. Something crucial. Let's make sure we save our file. You can save it in increments again if you wanted to. Now we're going to create this area. It's fairly simple. Just goes around the housing unit, has a clip, and then so we can use one of these existing loops. Carry this out, carry that out, extrude. That's good. Carry this one this way. And for now, I'm actually going to separate it just so we can properly concentrate on what we're doing. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fill these areas. I'm going to fill that area also. Add a loop right there. Add another loop right there. And add a loop right there. We're going to join those vertices. Join these vertices. I'm going to separate these ones slightly. I have a feeling that could be our clip. Like we could extrude this and that could be our clip, but I want that area to be a lot closer together, like the clip. Yeah, like the clip is actually somewhat closer together. So we'll fill that area as well. That's good. Let's join those. And these ones, we'll join this as well. That's better. Then we're going to extrude this. I slightly carry this out and scale. But with this entire thing, it is extruded. With this entire thing. Probably this area, we might leave that area in like that. But as for these areas, continue to extrude there also, and we will connect these areas. We'll also carry this out a little bit more. May add some additional loops around these areas, but not unnecessary. Carry this one up, carry this one down. Those areas, carry those ones out as well. Let's expand it a little bit. Again, this is just a clip. So the clip actually needs to be flat. Well, this area actually needs to be flat, kind of like that. May carry this in just a little bit. But yeah, that area does need to be quite a bit flat. Let's get rid of that one. As for this one, let's carry this one back just there. There's like a little screw right there. But this area is edge up. So too is this area. We'll carry this up even more actually. That's better. Let's zoom in a little bit. This area will extrude in, well, insert and extrude this way. Insert again. Oh, actually, that should be a circle. And then rotate it along that area. Flatten it a little bit. Nope, not going to work that way. So we're just going to rotate it a bit more. And then insert. And then, well, extrude that way and insert. Then we're going to duplicate this, carry it back, expand, separate actually, because this is like our screw, and then insert. And as for the face, delete face. Add a screw right there, select all and scale up. That's good. And just add it in place, somewhere around there. Just add it in place. That's good. This area we're going to, with these areas, we need to rearrange it a little bit, carry it out. And extrude. Scale it down and extrude this in like that. And carry this one down. Let's add a loop right there. Seems like we have this line that needs to be dissolved. So dissolve that edge. Or does it need to be just carried in like that? That'd probably help to fix it. But these areas need to be adjusted. These areas definitely need to be adjusted. And I wonder if we just need to dissolve some of those areas and rearrange these ones. As for everything, select it all, carry it in slightly. This area just extrude it inwards. As for this area, carry this one out and carry it down slightly. And now it's just a matter of having the handle. We're going to duplicate these group of vertices, carry them out, carry them back, carry them out. There we go. And readjust this. As for the handle, I want it to be slightly separated. So we're going to extrude this that way. We're going to carry this down, carry the entire thing down, and extrude once again. Carry this inwards. That's it. Carry this up, carry this forwards. That's it. So it's going to look a little something like that. Then we can extrude kind of like that and fill this area. And then add some loop cuts around that area. With everything, I'm just going to carry it back just like that. Predominantly this area, and add a loop right there, and add another loop right there. Don't want that area being too sharp actually. And as for this area, we'll close this out and we'll insert. We're going to fill that face right there. We're going to deselect some of these vertices and we're going to fill this area and insert. There we go. I do think this area could do with some improvements, to be honest. This is one of those areas where I'm like, yep, that could do with some improvements. But we got our gear shifter. This is pretty much the steering wheel modeled. But of course, I think we can improve that area. But actually, I want to see if you can improve it with your own design, of course. Let me know what you think of my design. I want to see your design. Tag me on Instagram, tag me on Twitter. I think it's time we start promoting the Discord again, so I'll add a Discord link in the description so you can share your work in the Discord group. That'd be a perfect place for you to share your progress and to ask for help if you need help. But this is fantastic. So that's modeling the steering wheel. In another episode, we might do materials. And by then, I might even improve this on my own. Thank you all for watching. It's been a long episode. Subscribe to see more. Remember to leave a like, leave a comment. Let's add back our entire car. Hide this image. How does that look? It takes forever, that's for sure. But for this level of detail, not extremely high detail, but advanced detail, this is rather impressive. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.